Welcome into an all-new episode of Panthers on Tap. I'm Curtis Rauen, joined by Bryson, Karbley. Ricky Raines coming to you guys on a Wednesday evening. Another victory in the books. Get your brooms out. We're sweeping the Atlanta Falcons. What a game this past weekend. Overtime thriller. Guys, good to see you. How y'all doing tonight?
Outstanding. What a win. A lot to get into tonight to talk about positives about this team and looking forward to next week. I'm excited to talk about Bryce Young and everything in between about this team. And like the chat saying, man, the brooms are out and we shut those dirty birds down south up, man.
What a day. What a day Sunday was, right? I'm super pumped to be here. I missed last week. I hated it. I hated that I missed last week because I felt like there was so much to talk about. You guys did a great job covering the fiasco that was the Saints game in Week 10. And now I get to come back for all the peaches and rainbows and rosiness of the situation because I get to talk about Bryce Young and what he did, Tedero McMillan. And like you just said, like the chat has talked about, I'm disappointed that I don't have a broom with me right now so that I could kind of just clear off my work area before we get into this, the same way that the Panthers cleared off their path to the NFC South, sweeping those shitbirds down there on I-85. Love it. Happy to be here with you guys and happy to drink some beer.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. I apologize. I should have started with that. But, man, what a win.
You didn't really miss me, Curtis.
What a win. We don't have to hear from Falcons fans until next year. They can maybe start looking at mock drafts, but they don't even have a first-round pick. So we'll get into the victory video. I just want to set the stage. We have a big show on tap tonight for you guys. We are doing a ticket giveaway. It's going to be 2 tickets for the Los Angeles Rams game, which could have major implications for the Panthers and their playoff hopes at the end of the year. We already have, I think, 80-plus entries so far, Bryson, if that's correct. One entry is if you provide proof that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you also follow us on Twitter. Every $5 super chat tonight is going to be one entry into it as well, added on to that. And then you will get 3 entries right off the bat if you are a member of the tap room. So just want to kind of set the stage for that. We will be drawing it towards the end of the show. We're very excited for that. Appreciate both Joko and Ricky going in on that ticket giveaway for you guys. So just want to shout them out. Do we want to hit the video? I mean, this is what everyone has been waiting.
You keep asking me, do I want to hit the video? I was ready to hit the video the minute that we got up here. But I mean, if you got anything else you want to do first, hell,
let's do it.
Play that shit.
What in the world?
This show gets more ridiculous every single Carolina Panthers win. If we make the playoffs, this show is just going to be chaos. You know that, right?
Oh.
Hell yeah. What's up, gentlemen? I'll tell you what, I am not going to wear this the whole episode.
Now, hold on. Before that fake bird over there starts talking, before Drake London gets to squeaking, let me go ahead and do it. Carolina Panthers victory. Bryson, join me on this. I tell you what. Carolina Panthers victory, baby. Feels good to be back.
Feels good. And, Katie, I see you in the chat. Dolly Parton. I was thinking more like Pink Pony Club. I'm a big Pink Pony Club guy.
Maybe like Orville Peck.
Yeah. Somewhere in between.
Gentlemen, what are we drinking tonight? I hope you guys can hear me.
Oh my God, Curtis!
Best thing I've ever seen. I don't know what. And can I just tell the chat just so that they know? I didn't know either of these two were going to be doing either of these moves tonight. So when the screens came back up during the video and I saw what they were doing, I'm over here just giggling like a little schoolboy watching what's happening. So this is terrific for me. But I'll start this off. First off, I want to shout out our good friend Clay Wright on X, Carl Hungus, for the terrific graphic and the inspiration behind this segment of What Are You Drinking Tonight? Because he always likes to remind you, I'm sure it will be better than whatever Curtis is drinking. Tonight, for me, I have a Sycamore pecan lager. And it's a terrific little holiday tasting thing. It's appropriate for the Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and everything else. And then once I get done with that one, because I'm going to tell you guys, I had the flu last week. It developed into pneumonia. I had to check tonight my prescription to make sure I could have alcohol with my antibiotic. I can have a few drinks with it without reducing the effectiveness. So I got a blonde Christmas ale as well, vanilla and cinnamon blonde Christmas ale from Southern Range Brewing. And then a choice fine Pilsner again. This is the one that we had with the cat eating the fish, but I wish that it was a bird on here because that would be a whole lot more appropriate. Very excited to hear what you guys are drinking, especially that pigeon up there.
Bryson, what do you got?
I am drinking beer tonight. Please do not tell my doctor. I figured after a win, I wanted to just have a couple with you guys. So please don't call my primary care provider and snitch on me. I am drinking a Shiner Holiday Cheer. Apparently, this is Ricky's wife's favorite holiday beer.
Yes,
I have not had it. I haven't even cracked it open yet, but I'm excited to try it because it says it's brewed with peaches and pecans, and that's right up my alley. So I got 2 of these, and then I'm calling it quits after 2, maybe.
Yeah, I'm simple. This is what was in the fridge, so that's what I'm going with. I got the Lobe tonight. I wanted to go to the store, but I actually wanted to get what Stephen Belk was drinking before the episode, and that was the winter ale that Samuel Adams has. So let's go to the super chat here.
Right now, it's just a bird up there.
Let's go to the super chat here. I'm not going to wear this the entire episode. It ain't happening. I'll be taking it off soon. Here we go. We'll start with Tony here. What is that? Not the bird aisles being below the beak.
Between this bird mask and then your little weird, what was it, Smurf groin that you had on your head last time, Tony is just going to be so terrorized from this and traumatized from this show.
We got Clay Wright in here. Poor Curtis. No, man, I think this is great. Alcohol is overrated. What's up, everyone? Don't agree with that statement, but what's up, everyone? Little sleep, and then I'll listen to Spotify like always. The man, the myth, the legend, Tiger from Pennsylvania. Bryce Young is the only QB this season to have 400-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. Carolina Reaper in full effect. Also, Panthers are 6-0 when they win the coin toss.
May the congregation say amen.
Amen. Cuddy, what the hell, Curtis? Yeah, I don't know. When's the last time we won on prime time? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Probably if you consider like a Thursday night game, I don't know if you consider that Thursday night prime time, but
it is.
The last time was, I think, that Atlanta Falcons game a couple of years ago.
I think that's right. Yeah, because we had the Saints on Monday night in Bryce's rookie year, lost that at home. Yeah, that Atlanta game on Thursday night might have been the last one.
Okay, there we go.
Find that statistic.
So let's get into the actual game here.
Hold on, Curtis. Hold on. You missed the super chat, and then we also have a new member.
Yeah, my bad. So, Tony, want to shout him out. He's been a proud listener of the show for a long time now, becoming a member. We appreciate you as always, Tony. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Tone.
Is it hot? Under the bird's nest?
And of course, Tony also gets the 3 additional entries, which, by the way, for all of our members, even if you did not send a screenshot, even if you did not do any of the other work to get the free easy one in, you have 3 entries in tonight's raffle for the 2-ticket giveaway. Anyone that joins the tap room tonight during the show will get an additional 3 entries into the giveaway. The other thing we had on the flyer, Curtis, I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder here by going through all this, but I figure we should start at the beginning with this, is every $5 increment on Super Chat will be an additional entry into the raffle. So you can do as much as you want, but if you want to increase your chances, a little bit goes a long way. There's a good amount of entries in there.
And Christian Johnson's in here too. Appreciate you. Just became a member, so thank you.
Christian.
Cheers, Christian. I'm going to add you 3 times to the wheel here. Give me 1 second.
And this will be what happens every time, right? When we do these giveaways, our members are going to get entries into these giveaways with no hassle, no nothing. That's one of the perks of being a member. We were just talking beforehand. We're going to have another ticket giveaway later this season around the holiday time for another big time game. So get in there and get what you can get.
Zachary here with the first super chat of the day, $5. That'll get him another entry. Happy Victory Wednesday, fellas. Appreciate you. Can't wait for the cowboy hat and moldy cheese head.
How about Victory Week nowadays? You know what I mean? I mean, when these Panthers are winning, boys, I have just had the best week, man.
I'm still trying to figure out this headphone situation here.
It ain't comfortable, is it? Nope.
No, not at all.
All right, guys, let's get into the game. Let's talk about it. And we're going to start. We started off, I believe, last week with Bryce Young, and that's where we're going to start this week. And I'm going to start with Ricky, since you missed last week. Bryce Young, big day, breaks Cam Newton's single game passing record, 448 passing yards on the day. Ricky, you weren't part of that conversation last week. I know you have thoughts about that, but jump to this week. He has the bounce back game on a bum ankle. Walk us through it. Thoughts on Bryce as the Panthers franchise quarterback.
What an answer for Bryce Young. And I'm going to say Dave Canales in this as well, because I think that that's important. But we'll talk strictly about Bryce, but I want to mention Dave Canales' name with Bryce at this as an answer, because I thought that both of them deservingly should have been questioned after last week. So I thought both of them had to come out and make a statement for themselves. How difficult to have to come and do it against the league's #1 pass defense, by the way, right? And this isn't a situation where you could say, well, Atlanta, teams just run all over them. Yeah, they allow a good amount of run, a good amount of groundwork in the run game, but they have a really solid secondary. AJ Terrell, since he's been back, has been very good. Xavier Watts has had a really nice rookie season. Billy Bowman Jr. has been a great nickel for them. Jesse Bates has played. You want to talk about Alontae Taylor and how he just seems to have the Carolina Panthers number every time we play the Saints. He's got Bryce Young's number. How about Jesse Bates? And you know what we saw this week? We saw Bryce Young get the best of Jesse Bates a couple of times. We saw him understand some differences in defensive looks and mechanisms of coverages, or at least I did, that when I saw him hold Jesse Bates and draw him literally down towards the near side of the field to free up the void in the middle on a single high shell coverage. Cover 3 is what I think they were running there. And he opens it up, and he had Jalen Coker come through for the deep intermediate crosser post for the first down. That was Bryce Young that created that. He created that space. He delivered an accurate ball. Terrific catch from Jalen Coker. The way that they attacked the intermediate level of the field was what spelled success for them in this game for the pass game. It opened up everything behind, and it opened up everything in front. Before this game, that intermediate work, that area, was a problem for the Carolina Panthers. They can execute the short stuff, man. They do it well. They throw it at a high percentage. They don't get a ton of yak because of the spacing concept issues and because of just not using guys in the right way. This week, what we saw the concepts from Canales created space on their own. He was scheming people open. And that is something that fans have asked for a really long time. It's something you see with guys like Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. It's stuff you see with Sean McVay in LA. I mean, and Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. These are the things that you see from these premier coordinators that you want to be able to say Dave Canales should be with. But then Bryce Young has to have the trust in 2 places. He has to have the trust in all of his playmakers, and then he has to have the trust in himself to trust those playmakers. And what I saw on Sunday was exactly that. I saw Bryce Young willing to take the one-on-one opportunities. I saw him wanting to take the one-on-one opportunities, not even willing. This was the aggressive Bryce Young. This was the I could try to create, I could make the chicken salad out of chicken shit Bryce Young, right? And I'm not saying that our team was bad. I just mean that no matter what, if it was muddy pockets, he tried to move, man. On a quarter or an ankle and a half, he was out there trying to make something shake. I think that his resilience should be commended. The leadership that he shows to this team, the rapport that he clearly has with these receivers as well. Dave Canales calls it time on task. But really all that is a souped up, fancy, optimistic way of saying trusting each other and knowing where each other's going to be at the right time. And for an anticipatory thrower like Bryce Young, what a critical thing. And you saw it with Xavier Legette. You saw it with Jalen Coker. You definitely saw it with Tetairoa McMillan. And I'm just really super, super duper pumped. Super grateful for Bryce Young. Super happy for him. You know, what a win. You know, when Cam Newton threw for 400 and what was it, 32, I believe was his record, 432. I think he also had one touchdown and 3 interceptions in that game. It was a loss to Green Bay. Only put up 23 points, 20 points, I think, 20 maybe. Bryce Young came out and put up 30 against the number 1 pass defense. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Very clean, efficient play from Bryce Young. Answered a whole lot of questions. Don't tell me anything that he can't do again. That's what I'm going to leave it at. Don't tell me he can't do something. We just got to do it more consistently. But there is nothing he couldn't do.
Bryce. Yeah, and when you talk about Bryce Young, you better address him as franchise record holder in passing yards. Bryce Young, quarterback, Carolina Panthers. What a performance. Ricky, you mentioned 2 areas of trust that Bryce Young has to have for that to work. And I would add a third. And something that's stood out to me is that his trust in the offensive line. Oh God, my hat's I'm trying to balance this on top of the headphones here. But yeah, his trust in the offensive line. You know, that's a defensive line that's highly vaulted with, 2 first-round rookies that one was supposed to be here in Carolina. Curtis and I talked about it last week, and they've put up good numbers with sacks this season. I think, Atlanta had improved significantly from the season prior to this year, and the offensive line did a really good job in protecting Bryce. Other than, one in particular person stepping on Bryce twice. Can't believe he's on the field, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, it was a perfect performance. It really was. We everything that we wanted to see, he did. He threw a deep ball to Xavier Legette. He got Tetairoa McMillan involved at a high level. He was perfect, and it showed on the scoreboard. The final drive of the game, in the regular time of the game, he drives down, creates outside the pocket, and involves Tetairoa McMillan in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. And then, we turn around, give up a field goal. Kirk Cousins leads them down, and we go into overtime and then win the game. So just exactly what we wanted to see from Bryce and Dave Canales. I agree with you, Ricky. It's both of them in this game were spectacular. The run game wasn't working, but the pass game was, and it worked at a very high level against the number 1 pass defense in the NFL. So shout out to both of them, man. Let's just build on it. Let's build on it, move forward, show some consistency and this trust that they've displayed this past Sunday, and let's see where it leads us.
I'm going to start where Ricky ended off, and don't ever tell me Bryce can't do anything in this league. I don't ever want to hear that again. We had a fan base that was on the ropes last week of let's look towards the future. Let's bring in another guy and all this other bullshit. And Bryce Young was called out by a lot of the fan base, at least on Twitter, and came out and showed up on an ankle and a half, as Ricky put it. Bum ankle. Didn't expect him to come back in this game. Didn't miss a series, and balled out and put up the record that he put up against the number 1. I don't care what you want to consider Atlanta, but statistically the number 1 pass defense, and put on a show. And we talked about it weeks ago, but we are getting to the point where Bryce Young is becoming the most clutch QB in Panthers history. It's getting close, and we're not at playoff games yet, but I'm ready to start talking about that because 10 now since 2023, the most in the league with guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Geno Smith. 10 for game-winning drives in the fourth quarter overtime. Just outstanding by him. I don't want to hear any of that talk. I don't want to hear that he's weak and he's all this other bullshit. Like that, he gutted that game out and showed his toughness and his resiliency on that field on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons, and it was outstanding. And he deserves all the credit in the world for a lot of the fan base that was shitting on him this past week. And some of that was deserved. Like there was deserved. Like he was struggling. There's no doubt about that. 102 yards or whatever it was the week before. But to come out kind of back against the wall again when, people are kind of giving up on you and just shows out against a divisional rival in a massive way. So hats off to Bryce Young. He deserves all his flowers this week. Player of the week, FedEx Ground and Air player, like all that. He deserves all the credit for everything he did this past weekend. So just shout out to him, man. It was impressive as hell.
Curtis, you said it like, I don't want to hear any excuses about the Atlanta defense. What are the excuses anyways, though? Like, can we talk for a second? That was week 11 of a, 17-game, 18-week schedule. Those aren't like fake statistics. It's not a fake thing at this point. They've played 11 weeks of football and have put up or allowed the fewest yards through the air per game and through the season. That's a legitimate defense. They were creating pressure. They were getting pressure on Bryce Young, and he was just making nails throws. He was making the right reads at the line of scrimmage. He was making checks, right? He was taking shots when he had them available to him. And I think that another thing for Bryce that I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit that I did, but Curtis, you made me think of it more when you said like he did everything. And Tony says it here. He checked literally every box. So many people doubt that Bryce Young can see the field. Right? You hear that constantly. He's too short to see over the line. He can't see his receivers. Can't throw the middle of the field because he's too small. The middle of the field is where he created everything in this game. It is where he got the opportunity to throw to Xavier Legette on the 36-yard go route, the double move go route from Xavier Legette, which was a thing of beauty. You want to talk about learning and improving on a tangible basis? That's a very similar concept to what happened in that Saints game when it was just off the tips of his one hand that he extended, right? When he got clearance on his corner this time, he did not slow up. He did not turn his hips. He did not open his hips. He did not try to reinforce separation. He tracked the ball. He ran full speed and tracked underneath that ball, and he caught it with a beautiful soft-handed catch. That is a difference, and that is a learning improvement. Now, I'm not saying that like the other ball from Bryce was perfect in the Saints game. It was also off platform and on the run. But when he had protection and Xavier Legette improved his part of the execution, that's what this offense could do. This offense is timing based, man. Bryce Young does not have the Josh Allen FU arm where he's going to be able to throw it off of his back foot 60 yards on a line. It's just not going to happen scrambling. He can make improvisational plays. He can make the second plays happen, but he's got a different skill set. And his brand of playing football is fantastic. What he did in this game, I think, showed exactly what Tony mentions here. He checked literally every box. That being said, I don't want to sound like we're just saying greatest football player in the world. He should be anointed right now. He still has to finish this year out. Dave Canales and this offense have to finish this year out. I'm not getting so high off of one game after being kind of like, hey, pump the brakes on getting low off of the others. Like, I still think that it's a collective. And for this one game, it should answer every question of Bryce Young can't do this, Bryce Young can't do that. It's how often and how frequently can Bryce Young do this?
Well, and another note to this is there was plays that they missed on the field. Like we're talking that one, the pass that he get was a pretty good pass in the end zone that the other corner jumped, who wasn't even on Legette, kind of peeled off his own guy that he was covering.
Right?
Yeah, to tip the pass. That should have been a touchdown. Like, so there was, and Canales talked about, like, there was plays out there that they had missed, And if he hits some of those, I mean, we're talking 500s here. Like
The first series at Tedero McMillan, we couldn't see it on the broadcast, but you remember like when he got hit and the ball kind of like fluttered, almost got intercepted. But when he got hit and the camera got to Bryce Young's face, I remember seeing on the broadcast, Bryce was smiling and laughing. He was like, "Oh," he was like, "I had him."
Yeah,
and I remember at that moment, man, I was sitting there and I'm sitting with my kid and I look at him and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see that shit." He looks up at me and goes, "S word, Dad." And I was like, "I still can't wait to see that shit." Like I wanted to see it, and he did, man. He had T-Mac streaking down there, looking like Will Ferrell going through the quad in the gymnasium in old school. He was going to be out there, and that was a very similar concept that they did against Dallas for the touchdown. There's things that he's doing that Canales is doing and Bryce are doing where they're showing the intent of this offense, man, and it does work. They're just cleaning up the execution.
And you talked about the plays beyond the 10, 15-yard plays. Bryce had 9. He completed 9 of 20 or more in this game. They had 21 the first 10 weeks of the season. So almost half of that in one game. So just outstanding performance. You guys talked about the trust. I think that was huge too. Leggett was involved heavily. He had one of his best days as a Panther. McMillan, best day as a rookie. 130, 2 touchdowns in this game. And then Coker is so damn underrated in this league. That catch he made in that first drive, the one that you talked about over the wheel, like full extension out, was incredible. It was a better catch than it was a throw. But damn, man, like that guy, we're talking about an undrafted guy making those, like he looked out. It was good to see him back. That was his like big coming out game, I feel like, after his injuries this year. So that was really good to see.
Edgar touched on it too. I wanted to talk about the tight ends. They even got involved. I think he completed the ball to 9 different pass catchers this past Sunday. Tommy Tremble, that big catch in overtime. Mitchell Evans had a big catch, I think, in the fourth quarter. They even JT Sanders, he had a catch on the 4th down, right, Curtis, if I'm not mistaken.
JT had a couple of catches. Yeah,
he
also had a couple rough moments. Yeah.
But we got to talk about Tremble because I tend to shit on this tight end room a lot. But Tommy Tremble, he was out for blood on that play in overtime, dude. I mean, he almost finished it. He almost had the touchdown. But man, that guy was running through everyone that was in his way on that play. So hats off to him. That was fun to watch. That play, right? That was. And someone in the chat had it. I don't know if someone can pull it up, but like JT and Bryce Young have ended the Falcons in back-to-back years. You had the Steph Curry play last year.
Tremble and Bryce, yeah.
Yeah, Tremble. And then, this game where, Tommy Tremble kind of seals the field goal at the end. So just hats off to those guys. We got to talk a minute too, and we kind of touched on it, but Canales, I feel like doesn't always get enough credit. I would say, maybe you guys agree with me on that, of calling plays in the offense and everything else. And for the he was dialed in this game, like from start to finish. I thought this was a well-oiled machine on offense for the most part. You have a quarterback go down. You almost have to go to Andy Dalton. Bryce Young comes back in. So that just roller coaster first quarter really for Canales. And then, we always talk about that first drive, the scripted plays, they're great at it. And then they kind of fall off in the second and third quarters and then come alive in the fourth. There was consistency. They score before half. They come out of half and put up a very well offensive drive after half, score right away. So there was moments in this game throughout. I thought Canales called a really good game, and we can talk about Rico and his decisions later in the game too. But I thought Canales, this was a complete game for him. He said he had no plays left. I know he was probably kidding about that, but I thought it was an outstanding coaching game for him offensively.
Yeah, we've touched on it briefly, but I would say it's one of his most complete games as a play caller, and it really showed his ability that we've struggled to see in his first couple of years here, and of adjusting in game. The run game was not working for the most part. I thought Chuba had more juice than Rico did in this game, and when Chuba was on the field, he looked like he's getting healthy. I do believe, I think Ricky had tweeted about it as well, that and he even mentioned, I think Chuba did in a presser, that, he might have come back a little too early from that calf injury, and, he looked like he had some juice. But I think, he did exactly what we've been wanting, what we've been asking, call the deep shots. He was pressured in the media, I think, after last week of, why aren't you calling more deep shots? And he makes the statement that I'll call them when I see them to start working. And I defended him a little bit last week on the show, and, he called them and they worked, and he kept calling them and they kept working. So let's see that, consistency from game in and game out. But yeah, you got to give him his flowers, because it showed on the field that they were going to leave it all there. I mean, he was going to call the play, and they were going to hope that it worked. And if it didn't, then it didn't. But, it felt like almost every single time they did, they were getting a positive play on those deep shots. So against, again, the number one pass defense in the NFL through 11 weeks. So I think the sky's the limit. Where I struggle to kind of just be completely like super excited about everything is that I feel like we've been to this situation, or in this situation before, of like, okay, we see it working, but it feels like it changes week to week almost. And like next week, we could be having I could see us having a talk between all three of us of, okay, why did they go away from what happened or what worked the week prior? I need to see that consistency before I'm like fully committed about everything. But I think Bryce and Dave Canales 100% deserve the flowers in this game, but you have to build on that and continue to show what you showed us on Sunday.
Well, the defense does dictate a little bit, right? We always talk about it on this show that we want to like impose our will and just do what we want to do. Of course, right? Like that's a romantic way of viewing that and thinking that you can do that on a week by week basis. But the coverages that they give you, that dictates it. Edgar brings up this thing about, don't forget about Rico Dowdle calling plays too. Wonderful clip that just came out about Rico calling that screen and saying, hey, look, we can work to this. If we get this first down, I want this. Like it's open. It's going to be there. I promise. That's what he said to Canales. But Canales' response to that's really interesting too for me. And it was, yeah, hey, as long as like they're back, if they're still mugging the line, I don't like it. That's the chess game that sometimes is overlooked by a lot of fans, I think, is that no matter how much you want to do something, if there is a look that you're given that tells you that's not going to go well for you, you can't just do it because you want to. That's how you get in turnovers. That's how you make mistakes, right? That's putting yourself in conflict knowingly. You don't want to do that. But what I thought Canales did really well in this game, and you talked about the call sheet, him saying, yeah, we didn't have anything left. They called 72 offensive plays. Now, I think he said they had 115, 125 or something like that calls on the call sheet, the big old Waffle House menu. But he's sitting there and, he's 40 away from emptying the whole clip, man. That's crazy. Like that was a throw everything to the wall. A lot of it stuck. Bryson, you mentioned the run game didn't work effectively on Sunday. It didn't really get going. But you know what he did that I appreciated a lot about the run game is that he put more variety in it again. I thought that the run game against the Saints, the entire offense I thought against the Saints was wildly telegraphed. I thought it was conservative. I think that they anticipated being able to run down the Saints' throat, and it didn't work, and they didn't have a backup plan. They didn't have a contingency plan. What I think you see with Canales, and we've talked about this, I think, before as well, it's a lot more reaction than anticipation from Canales at this stage of his head coaching career. He is able to see what happens and formulate a plan after, but not necessarily in that moment, not reactively. It's when he has preparation and time that he can communicate. He's a very effective communicator. And when he has the ability to sit down and explain things and work through the details, he's very effective at the X's and O's, man. He's a smart guy. He knows ball. You can see it in the way that he calls the offense. But when he gets hit in the mouth, man, this offense gets hit in the mouth, and they haven't had great answers. With this game, I think that they came out with the intention of, hey, even if this run game isn't working and being super effective, we're going to show them all the looks that we have been effective with. We're going to run some of those toss plays. We're going to run the mix of outside zone, inside zone. We're going to run some gap. We're going to run a couple counters. We're going to run duo every now and then, right? They ran the gauntlet on them. They showed them every look that we've been doing. I agree with the Chuba sentiment. I thought he looked like he had juice. We heard him in the locker room talk about, yeah, maybe I came back a little bit too early. I feel about as close to 100% as I have since being back. I thought that was evident in the last game and a half. That was why I was adamant about not dealing either one of them, because right now Rico, who has been laying it all on the line and taking a ton of punishment, taking a ton of touches, is dealing with his own quad issue, which you can tell is slowing him down. You can't just run an injured player into the ground. He'll be out for weeks. You got to start taking a little bit of the food off his plate and put it on Chuba's, right? It's Thanksgiving. Share, boys, right? Like sit there and have the meal together. I'm not saying for like a 50-50 split, but that's why I also didn't have the problem with Canales' initial approach of hot hand. I just think that Rico earned the touches at the beginning and going forward because of the fact that he was the hot hand. But now with Chuba, look, give him 7 touches. He don't have to only get 4 a game. Like, he's not going to turn into a pumpkin if he gets more than 4. Let him run the football a little bit. But Canales dialed up the calls with great sequencing, with great aggression. I think that he trusted the players to execute. They did. There seemed to be urgency. The pace for this offense, in my opinion, stood out a lot to me on Sunday. The routes that were run did not look slow. You talk about one of the things that I thought was really weird that Canales praised Xavier Legette for following, I think it might have been the Saints game, maybe. He said something about, yeah, Xavier's running fast. He's doing everything we ask him to do. And I'm like, that seems almost like I don't want to say anything else about the way he's playing, but I'll just say that he's running fast. But I saw him run fast in a different way against the Falcons. He ran fast on his stems of his routes. He ran fast with the ball in space when he got it in the yak opportunities, which, by the way, shout out Bryce Young and Xavier Legette's connection on those second plays. That could become a lethal part of this offense. There was two instances, the 4th and 2, where Bryce rolled out, and you saw it. I put the clip up of the all 22 of this, but he dragged, I believe it was Jesse Bates. No, wait, it was Xavier Watts, I think. Dragged Xavier Watts, and he took him and Caden Ellis, and they were running in unison. With his shoulders turned, their shoulders were turned. And then on the drop of the dime, Bryce saw Xavier, squared up, delivered it accurately. X caught it. It took off for another 7-8 yards. Then the one that he had where it was Coker and Legette on quick routes, quick digs, and they were together, and they had Billy Bowman in hell. Bryce came out, and he gave him a moment to choose. He's like, which one are you going to go with, Billy? Billy turned his hips for a second, looked like he was going after Coker, and boom, it's freed up Xavier Legette. Legette took off like a quarter horse, right? It was beautiful. I think that that's something that could open up. And when Canales sees these things work, I think that's when you start to build. So I think Canales has had this in his bag. I just think that they're recalibrating, man. The receiver room is finally healthy. The offense is clicking. The running backs are working together. I just think that there's some calibration and grace. I wrote about Canales as his head coach and his development as a coach. You can see the way the team believes in him and believes in what he's selling. And the X's and O's fall into place afterwards. And I think that as long as this team has the belief in each other, the wins will continue to come.
I just want to expand on the wide receiver comment you just said. Is there was a lot of yak in this game, like more than any game this season. They got the receivers in space, ball was out on time, and they allowed them to work. Teterow and McMillan had a couple of chunk plays. You mentioned Legette had a couple where it was a catch and run, and he was extending. You haven't seen that really in many games. You've seen McMillan every once in a while break one off, but I thought this game was outstanding for yak for these receivers, which was big. You guys touchdown Dowdle and Chuba. I agree with you. I thought Chuba had juice this game, and I think you can tell that Rico is a little bit hurt. The thing I have reluctancy on, and Chuba did it a couple times in this game, and he's had this issue ever since he's been a Panther, the drops on passes there was a couple in this game that were killer in the game, and I think he could have extended drives. And Rico he doesn't have an issue with that. He's catching out of the backfield. We saw the screen play late in the game, but there was a couple of them where he had some nice chunk plays where if Rico was in there, I think he would have made those catches, and we might have been talking about a whole different score too in this one. And there was some crucial, like there was a 4th down play, I believe, and there was a 3rd down that Chuba had dropped, and those still haunt him. And I know he works on that, and he's on the jugs machine, and I love the guy's effort to try to get better at that. But that stuff, when you're playing a good team like the 49ers this weekend, you can't have.
That's one of those things they wanted Jonathan Brooks to be here for too. Yeah. You can't convince me of anything different, and like sometimes I get excited watching what they do with this offense and envisioning Jonathan Brooks in on half of it Like, even the Rico Dowdle screen that he almost took for the touchdown, barely touched the line. I mean, I think that Jonathan Brooks is in the end zone 3 seconds before he's even touching that white line, right? But I do think that Rico, the only thing he's got to clean up, though, in those pass situations, man, his pass pro is shaky at times.
Yep.
And I think that's the hard place, the rock and a hard place that Canales finds himself sometimes with some of those third down situations. He says, hey, if I want an extra guy in protection, I would rather have Chew back there. Like, I believe that he understands pickups. He's a more willing blocker. But then when he's in the flat, do you feel as good about him coming down with the pass as you do about Rico? Probably not. So, you live and you die with the decision. They're two good running backs, but I think that they both have their ups and downs when it comes to the third down situations.
Well, and I think you're going to see this juggling match the rest of the year of, who do you feed? I even tweeted in this game, and they put him in a couple times. He didn't get a ton of it, but ETN, like, I'd like to see him a little bit more every once in a while, because I think if you're dealing with Rico with an injury and you have Chuba and you still need someone, I think he just adds a different element in there that I don't think a lot of teams are scheming up for. They're not ready for it. But I think it's a perfect time to hit this video. I know folks have been wanting this video again, Ricky. So why don't we hit that and we'll come back. There's a ton to talk about. We haven't even touched the defense yet. So. Welcome back. We did have a super chat, so why don't we go to that quickly here, because we missed it. And it's from Carter, our buddy here, $4.99. We appreciate you. No interception Sunday, Ricky. I want your opinion. I created my own stat, NFL adjusted QB score. It's a multiplication of pressure rate plus time to pressure scaled to NFL average. Can you expound on that, Carter? I feel like you left out what you're about to say. So let us know on that. But we appreciate you. Cheers as always.
Cheers, Carter.
I will say I was talking to Carter last night on Twitter, and I think it's an offensive line stat. It from what he was telling me, it is a pretty interesting stat that he's created. And one thing that Carter had told me, I hope he doesn't mind me telling, Carter's in high school, and he's been a Panthers fan, his whole life, he lives on the West Coast. The last time the Panthers had a winning season, he was in second grade. So,
wow, man.
Yeah, he told me that, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I couldn't imagine like going all throughout school and cheering for this team and not having anything to cheer for.
Well, and shout out, man, to Carter, if, being a high school age person and doing the things that you're trying to get into, man. The football world is one of the most complex. I had a conversation, Jared Feinberg is here in the chat tonight with us, and I had a conversation with him earlier today. We were looking at coverage shells and trying to figure out what people were running, where he was looking at a Rams Jaguars clip, and we were discussing the coverage, and both of us thought it was one thing, someone else thought it was another. There are so many different things that happen in the modern NFL. Look at this bird pecking the screen right now. It's crazy. Carter, just whatever you do, man, I'll shut up what I was saying. I was trying to say something meaningful, but he's over here tapping the screen with his beak. Whatever you do, Carter, don't turn into Curtis. That's the only thing I ask of you, bro. Like, you're on a good path.
Please.
Keep the bird mask off of your head. Keep your head in the books. Keep your head off the birds. And that should just be a rule of thumb anyways. But, yeah, shout out to Carter, man. Really cool. Shoot me a DM, man. We'll talk about that stat that you made up, and I'd love to work through that and see what you got going, man.
You got to follow him back. You got to follow him back. He had mentioned that last night.
I do want to ask you guys this question, and this kind of goes more towards the offense before we talk about the defense, and that is the big conversation that everyone wants to see. And can they get this consistently? And what I mean by that is the offense performing week in and week out. And it's not Bryce Young 450 yards every game. Like, we know that's not realistic. But, like, can this offense be competent enough to put up game in and game out where Bryce has, 200 and some yards and the offense is, you have some sort of balance here. Do you think they can get to this point, or do you see this kind of roller coaster ride the rest of the season?
Can't fucking take him seriously,
dude.
man. Bryson, you go first.
Yeah, it's so hard to like listen to him talk and just look at that bird mask.
You got to cock your head a little bit though, Curtis, when you're sitting there. There it is.
I think that it's attainable to consistently, at least. I don't think 450 plus yards passing a game is something that you can consistently count on, obviously. But I think, for this offense to hit on a couple deep shots a game and dial those up and be able to adjust in game if something isn't working, I think that's something that we could consistently hope for and I think get on the field. It's just, I mean, Ricky mentioned it earlier. It seems like when Canales is getting punched in the mouth on offense and the players as well, they're struggling in game to like just swing back and return that punch. So we're in, year 2 of Canales and his offense, and he's at year 3 as a play caller. So he's got some room to grow. Like he's not some seasoned play caller that's been doing this for a long time on the NFL level at least. And I think that it will come eventually. I think it, like I said, I think it's attainable to get this consistently. Just an offense that looks competent week in and week out, and not what we saw versus the Saints. Like that should be thrown, like that tape should be burned and buried, and whatever you had to do with it, like that is inexcusable. With the talent that we have on offense, what Bryce has shown when he can be good, and what Canales has shown when his play calling is good, like a level above that, obviously, I think is something that you can consistently expect from this offense, and we should.
Yeah. Why can't we have this consistently, right? If we're going to say not to bring up anything that Bryce Young can't do, look at this fucking bird drinking a lobe. God damn it. If we're gonna say that there's nothing that Bryce can't do, right, and that we need to dead that whole agenda and dead that whole narrative, right, then the other thing that we have to do is rely and trust that this could be something that happens on a regular basis. The talent is there. The offensive line is only going to get better. We're doing all of this. We did this with basically 4 guys playing for us and 1 guy trying his damnedest to take the quarterback out half the time. And so when you bring in Robert Hunt in there instead of, that guy, 62, I'm about to start giving him the Panther culture Dante Jackson treatment, the Ian Thomas and Pigeon Man treatment, where I don't say their name, I only say the number, because 62, man, drove me up the wall on Sunday. And when you talk about getting Robert Hunt back, when you talk about, the offensive line clicking the way it should and the running backs being healthy, all of the receivers finally calibrating together, being healthy, this offense should do this on a regular basis. Not 440 yards, man. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about success, right? I'm talking about not looking inept. Being able to play to what somebody is giving you, but also to your strengths. The other part that we haven't talked about, which I thought plays into this, the whole consistency thing, people got so up in arms about how great Rico played those 2 weeks that they were just like, run the ball 40 times a game, run the ball. Like, don't stop until somebody makes you stop. Like, and sure, again, like we said, romantically, it's a wonderful sentiment. It sounds beautifully, right? That's not going to work, man. Balanced offense is a balanced offense. You have to have a threat on the other side of that to balance it out. You can't go and ride on the seesaw by just jumping on one end constantly. That's going to be a bad time at the park. Like, you're not going to be yelling "wee." It's not going to be fun, man. You're just going to be stomping on a seat for an hour. And that ain't a whole ton of fun. But if you got a pal that'll sit over there and put his ass on the seat across from you, and you guys get to look at each other and, have a conversation about life, hey, you can have a real nice time in the park. And that's what this Carolina Panthers team needs to do. They need to have a couple pals on the seesaw, right? And Bryce Young has got to be able to execute the passing concept. Dave Canales has got to be confident in calling them. And then our run offense, regardless of how effective it is or not, it's got to stay varied and it's got to stay true to it. But the pieces are there. The concepts are there. And we see Katie here in the chat. I'm going to let her know too. I agree. Jake Curahan is also there. He's there. Put him in the game against San Francisco. I think he should start. I think, maybe he was not in that game because he gave up that missed field goal the game prior. Could this have been hey, learning point? I need you to do something different, right? Thank you, Keaton. I appreciate you, man. Cheers to you. Yeah, if maybe that was the case, but I hope that message has been received. I talked about it before the game with Chandler Zavala getting the start. That felt a whole lot like when DJ Johnson got the start against the Patriots. They knew it was going to go poorly. They had no reason, no previous knowledge to ever tell them this is going to work out and be fun, right? This is going to work out well. They never had anything to ever tell them that. I think they looked at it and said, just prove to me one last time that I don't want nothing to do with you, right? Like you got that cheating girlfriend, man. You know she's going to cheat on you. You know it. But you really, really want her to stop cheating. So you go out and you go have a nice time. You see her talking to somebody at the bar and you're like, all right, look. Hey, look. I ain't going to tell you not to. All right, I'm going to sit over here and enjoy my beer. But please don't do it again. And then when she don't come home with you, you leave her. You finally leave her. That's what happened here. You got to leave Chandler Zavala. You got to leave him. He could be a depth piece. He could be your, and chance of emergency break glass guy. He wears his suspenders if they ever go back to Germany. He's a terrific spokesperson. But I don't think that he should be starting at right guard as long as you're serious about trying to win football games.
Going back to the initial question, I do. Yeah, I
peeled off. Sorry.
No, you're good. You answered it off the top. I do. I think they can get back to what they were doing at the end of last season, and you just add McMillan into the mix and Dowdle. And I think that improves it greatly. And I think they can get there. It's just can Canales trust this operation, and can Bryce trust these guys when they're playing up against a premier team like the 49ers? And that's the big question. Because we've always seen these ebbs and flows and these ups and downs of this team over the years. And you kind of saw some consistency last year, but there was even some inconsistencies in that, the Bryce Young surge at the end of last season. So I hope we kind of see that in prime time, because that's a whole nother layer to it is, can they do this when the spotlight's on them and everyone's watching? And really up to this point, they haven't been. They really haven't had a ton of opportunity to, but up to this point, what do they do under the spotlight? So I think that's huge.
Carlo, that's great. Carlo says we should have known after he talking about Zavala text Fitty saying, come get me. And Fitty said, oh, okay. Yeah, no doubt, man. That should have been the first big red flag.
Before we go to the defense here, I want to just highlight again, because we haven't since the top. We're giving away 2 tickets to the Los Angeles Rams game at the end of this episode. That's coming up at the end of the month. Thanksgiving weekend. It's going to be a big matchup against a really red-hot Rams team right now. Carolina's still trying to, fight for the division, obviously, and a playoff spot here. So there's a couple ways you can enter. You got to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. That's one entry. Just show us proof of that before the end of the night. Every $5 super chat in this episode gives you an entry. So if you want to be added in, take advantage of that. And then if you're a member of our YouTube channel, that gives you automatically 3 off the top. To become a member, go to our YouTube page. And if I can pull it, or maybe Ricky can pull it up, that little QR code. All you got to do is scan the QR code. It will take you to our YouTube page. It's $3.99 to become a member. I believe it's a little bit more for Apple on your iPhone. Yeah, on your iPhone, it's $4.99. I don't know why. I don't make the rules. That's a monthly fee, but that will give you 3 entries right off the top. Again, we'll be giving this away at the end of the episode.
Let me touch on Joko's comment as well. Said he heard it was 3 tickets. JJ and I were Panthers Culture on X. We're doing our Tackle Tuesday space yesterday. And JJ was in a very generous giving mood after being in person for the Atlanta game and seeing the wonderful win for the boys, and said that he would add an additional ticket to this giveaway. What we are going to do instead, since we have 2 tickets that are already together in the same section as Curtis's tickets, so you guys will be sitting, I think it's like 2 or 3 rows behind you or something like that, same section. So you guys can hang out, do the tailgate and whatever, then you'll be there with people that you know cheering on the game. We're going to do another giveaway where JJ will have a ticket that he'll buy, and I will match that again, and we will do another pair of tickets in a second giveaway. Instead of having a 3 where there may be somebody sitting by themselves at this game, want to give people an opportunity to go with a pal. Like we just talked about, man, no one wants to sit in the seesaw by themselves. Let people have a nice day. So we'll get another ticket giveaway going here, Joko. Don't worry about that, man.
Let's slide to the defense here. Let's talk about them. We
do want to hit Lowe's question later, by the way. Can we pin this? Because I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, let me
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was trying to get that before you started talking.
No, you're good. Let's talk about the defense. So they kind of had a lackluster first half, gave up 21 points right out of the first 2 quarters. But then they kind of hunkered down, I think, and I don't know these stats for sure, so I don't even know if I'm going to put this banner up because I thought this is what it was, but I believe they held Atlanta to 90 yards in the second half and 6 points. Someone, if they want to correct me on that, I'll put it up. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it was a pretty damn good performance. Obviously, Penix went out in the second half with his injury. He's got a partial torn ACL out for the season. But the defense held their own in that second half. J.C. Horn, Corey Thornton got a ton of opportunities in this game. You didn't see much of Shaw Smith-Wade. He did play, but Corey Thornton got the bulk of the defensive snaps, which I don't know about y'all, but I liked 31. Now he did give up some plays and he had a penalty or 2, but he's kind of that risk reward type player where.
What was it you said in the chat? You said something in our group chat. Curtis said something about like, hey, if he's not going to make the play, he's going to get a penalty.
Yeah, it was something like that. But again, like that was his first like true NFL game, right? Like he hasn't had like meaningful snaps in majority of the games up to this point. Is that correct? I think that is. So like, for a guy that's coming in, he's an undrafted corner, and I don't know. I liked his. I don't even know what the word is.
Gusto.
Just his style. Yeah, his style of play is
it's physical. Yeah,
he kind of reminds me of what was the guy a couple years ago that you really liked, Ricky. That kind of, he had that like tenacity to him almost. That corner, I can't think of his name. 29 maybe was it?
Jameson.
Oh, Deshaun Jameson.
Yeah, where he's. Yeah. I don't think they're the same player, but like
much different size. Yeah. But the attitude, the attitude and approach, there's some similarity to that.
But anyway, let's talk about the defense. What'd you guys think of them? I know Nick Scorton had himself a game in this one. And Ricky, I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were going to be wearing that Nick Scorton jersey tonight because I was like, man, where is it?
I ain't going to wear it, man, until the game day at this point. What does Michael Scott say? I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious, right? Like there's a little bit to it. And like, since they won that game, when they started, first of all, when it looked like the first 15 went off and then all of a sudden the offense was getting slow and sloppy, right? I was like, man, I'm in this fucking Scorton jersey. Like, is this thing tainted? I just got it. It's beautiful. I haven't bought a jersey since Cam Newton. I finally pulled the trigger because I believe wholeheartedly in Nick Scorton, have for a long time. Now he's in the process blue. I want to show my support as much as possible. Then he gets hurt. He came out of that game hurt. And I literally, boys, I started to take the thing off. And I was like, I'm going to go throw it in the PK 360 and grill something up tonight. Pneumonia be damned. I'm going to go grill this jersey and I'm going to cook something on top of it. Like we'll pour some champagne on it and put it out, but it's over. I'm not wearing this cursed thing anymore. And then they started coming back. I still had the jersey on and I was like, all right, now we're talking. I'm not going to wear it until game days from now on. I got plenty of Panthers apparel. I got shirts. I got sweaters. I got all kinds of stuff. I also have a little tacky thing I got for the Christmas holidays, by the way, so that when we win a game and I get to put this here hat on, I got something to go with it. I'm a chintzy little Christmas guy. Can't wait to break that out. But defensively, Nick Scorton has established himself as this team's best edge defender. Like, just has. And Maybe part of that is because of Pat Jones's injury. I would love to see how they could be playing together. I wish that we had more opportunities to see that on the field because I think that was a really nice tandem. Not trying to be like dismissive of DJ Wanham, but I've been disappointed, man. I've wanted to see more out of that, and it hasn't happened. I think Princely Umamuelen is coming about, but our secondary, man, they got something to them too. Like you bring up Corey Thornton, but our entire secondary has this "we're better than you" attitude, including Mike Jackson. Shout out Mike Jackson, dude, because almost on a weekly basis now, I go to watch the film, and I'm like really excited to watch J.C. Horn, who I think is, I think J.C. Horn is the top corner in this league. Like I enjoy watching him play. I think he's terrific. But then I catch Mike Jackson on a lot of these targets because they don't throw at JC as often. Go figure. Mike Jackson does his thing, man. This is a good football player for us. And we got him under contract for another year. I know they really like Corey Thornton. I think it's going to be really interesting. And I just posted while we're doing the show, hope you guys don't mind, but it just published on Pro Football Network. And it's my first mock draft. They want me doing a 7-round Panthers mock draft once a week. So I posted that, but in there, I talked about this dynamic with Corey Thornton, right? Him being in favor with this coaching staff and this organization really makes things interesting because is he going to be the boundary corner opposite of JC and they move on from Mike Jack? Because he's got the size and that's where he played mostly, right? He's getting his looks right now at nickel, but they still like Shaw from what I understand. Or does that open it up for Shaw to do more of that safety work that we have seen them using him on? And I don't know how high they are on Lathan Ransom. I know that we like him. I also know that Lathan seems to be much more of what he projected to be, at least at this point, as a box safety and as a big nickel. Do they like Shaw's ability to maybe play the deep third and rotate as a safety? Do they want that versatility between him and Corey Thornton? I don't know, but there are some interesting pieces on this defense that the mentality that they're playing with, though, is, again, directly correlated to the head coach, Dave Canales, in my opinion. The way that they believe in each other and pull each other up, I think that it's pretty remarkable, man. When they were getting beat down in the first half of that game, they gave up a ton of rushing yards in that first half of that game, guys. What was it, like 93 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns to Bijan Robinson alone in that first half? They were getting smoked. It looked bad news bears. And then they came out and they picked themselves up. And they're like, nah, we're done with that. Like, they basically put those little pigeon masks on all those Falcons and ran around and just laughed at them for the rest of the game. They're like, you can't get your ass kicked by something looking so silly like that. Let's just imagine them all with those pigeon masks on. And they went out there and they handled their business. Derek Brown, phenomenal. He's just a terrific football player, man. His impact maybe not always show up in box scores, but it shows up every single Sunday how good he is. Claude Sherless, shout out Claude. I thought that he struggled getting to depth in coverage for the first half, and maybe that's, again, acclimating first defensive start of the season. Second half, he came out and he played so instinctively and so violently. I mean, he was putting licks on dudes. He came hitting, dude. I mean, you could hear when Claude Sherless was involved in a tackle. That was pads popping, dude. Like, it was a lot of fun to watch Claude play that fast and instinctively because that's what they talked about with him. Pete Hansen said he had high aspirations for him because of the kind of athlete that he is. That athleticism showed up, man. I am excited to see what he does because I think he's going to have another opportunity. There is a chance that he is the green dot on Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers because Christian Roseboom has an issue. And I know we'll get into this. Yeah, we'll get into this with statistically speaking, but that is a big challenge against the Kyle Shanahan offense with what they like to do. But shout him out for this game because I thought that he showed up and was effective, made big plays down the stretch. When this team needs it, they make big plays more times than not. And I'm starting to believe in that as part of the identity of this football team. Some of that probably comes from their quarterback, Bryce Young, because there is such unwavering support and belief in Bryce Young that when there's 2 minutes left or 7 minutes left and it's a 1-score game, hey, just get 9 the ball, right? But that leaks over to the defensive side, guys, because who has to get 9 the ball? The defense. So they're starting to believe that, hey, if we believe in the guy behind us that can lead us past that finish line and is waiting for us with a bottle of champagne and a couple goofy cowboy hats, That's all we need to do is get the ball back to that guy so that we can wear those dumbass hats, right? And this team is really enjoying wearing hats.
And I think I think it's fair for how harsh I was on this player to admit that he has not been as bad, I think, as a lot of us thought he was going to be as a starter on this defense, and that's Nick Scott. He's had his struggles throughout the first 11 weeks, but he has not been just this huge, mismatch and getting taken advantage of, getting picked on, game in and
liability.
Game out. Liability, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. He's not been a huge liability of what I thought he was going to be personally out there. He gets involved in hits occasionally, and I think while he's not my favorite player, I think that position could be improved. He's not been as bad as I thought he was going to be. So I think he deserves a little bit of flowers in that regard. I did want to mention, I saw this stat on Twitter at Thomas World. The Panthers' defensive points allowed in the second half this season. Week 1, 6 points. Week 2, 7 points. Week 3, 0 points. Week 4, 10 points. Week 5, 7 points. Week 6, 10 points. Week 7, 3 points. Week 8, 21. Okay, not great, but week 9, 7. Week 10, 7. Week 11, 6. This defensive unit is stiffening in the second half and not, keeping this team in games. And if that offense continues to produce at just a above average level, this defense has proven they're going to be able to get you the ball back, especially in the second half. So shout out to the defense, man. It wasn't perfect. Bijan Robinson, that tackle or that run he had for a touchdown where he broke like 3 tackles in the backfield. Like there were struggles in this game for sure. But when it mattered, the defense bowed up. And Trayvon Merrick hitting Michael Penix, and unfortunately Michael Penix got injured. But it's kind of the same situation of what happened when we first played the Falcons. Michael Penix gets hit and he's rattled for the rest of the game. Merrick, instills his prowess in this game against this Falcons offense and makes a difference. Unfortunately, it came at the expense of an injury for Michael Penix. I don't want to see that for anyone, but it is what it is. And I think week in and week out, I struggle to pick the most important player on this defense. I think a lot of people would argue Derek Brown, which I wouldn't, argue against, but you have guys like Trayvon Merrick, who is consistently making a difference, and J.C. Horn, who's struggled, the past couple of weeks, but has been a really good player on this team for a while. And then even like guys like Christian Roseboom, who's really improved throughout the season and getting tackles for losses and just leading the team in tackles when he's on the field. I think this defense is getting its footing, and it's been a lot better than most of us expected this year. And, to reiterate those stats I read earlier, in the second half, I don't know if it's Ejiro Evero like adjusting, which I assume it would be, but they figure it out in game, and that's something that cannot be overlooked. This defense has been solid, and this defense can win games if the offense puts up points.
I want to shout out Roseboom. I feel like that was a guy. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you guys, but felt like he got shit on coming in here. There was, folks were like, okay, he had that one fluke year in Los Angeles. Can he replicate that type thing? And 91 tackles. I think he's top 7 in the NFL right now. So, and a guy who kind of struggled initially, and then they give Trevin Wallace the green dot, and he has played outstanding ever since. Got the green dot in this game, and I think that is going to be, if he can't go this on Monday night, that concerns me, and I have a bad feeling, because if they're putting Windman on the practice squad, that's telling you a little hindsight of what they're looking at in that linebacker room for this upcoming game. So, but yeah, I mean, he deserves credit. He's played really well. I think the free agents in front of him too have kind of opened that up, and Derek Brown and Bobby Brown in the middle, Turk Wharton coming back. I feel like that gives them some open lanes too.
If you ask Dan Orlovsky, Cam Jackson's been an impact player, even though he's been inactive since week 6.
I want to give LeBron Ray. Now, I didn't watch all of his snaps, but I felt like there was a couple times I saw 93 on there on a couple plays, and I'm like, initially, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And I'm like, damn, he's like, he made a couple plays in there. So I wanted to shout him out because, I know he has been playing in and our, in some plays and he's out in some others, and he played some, a lot more last year and the previous years. But I thought he had a couple plays in there. Merrig, covering wise, was a little shaky at times. And I know that I feel like that isn't his strong suit. And maybe Ricky might push back on that a little bit. But I think he is going to be key in this upcoming game because I feel like he's going to be the one who's going to be on Christian McCaffrey a lot of the time out of the backfield. So I think he's going to be key for this upcoming game, honestly. And can he limit McCaffrey's receptions? Because he's been outstanding this year with the ball. We know him. We know what Christian McCaffrey can bring. But this year, catching the ball in the backfield and some of the Texas route, the things he runs, I think that's going to be huge in this upcoming matchup this weekend. J.C. Horn, I thought, had a bounce back game from last week. I was hesitant. I was a little hesitant. I thought he made some plays, but like Ricky said, he really wasn't testing much. I thought, and I want to give, Ricky, you kind of stole my thunder with the Mike Jackson stuff because I've been hard on Mike Jackson. He has played very well this season. Like, that is a very underrated signing by Dan Morgan because he got him for fairly cheap too. So
he got him for a guy that ain't in the league.
Well, I mean, no, that's his second, like his contract.
Yeah.
Is what I really mean. But yeah, I mean, the trade for the guy who doesn't play on anyone's squad right now.
I had high hopes for Michael Barrett.
But man, Mike Jackson, he's been outstanding.
I thank him for his service, though. Michael Barrett did what he had to do,
exactly.
Right?
I mean, Mike McDaniel. What's McDonald. Thank you.
Well, now don't disrespect my buddy like that.
Thought he was going to get the same guy he got at Michigan, and it just didn't pan out. But no, he deserves a ton of credit, and I do like Corey Thorne. I was shaking my head, and I wasn't shaking my head at what Bryson was saying, so I hope you didn't think that before. But someone had a comment about the Rajon.
It was Wright. Carlo saw you too. Look at it. He saw you. I saw you shake his head.
I don't think so.
Hey, hold on, no. Look, he said, I'm not talking about Rajon from his time at Carolina. If you watch Last Chance U, you could see the grittiness and type of play I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Okay, but Lo, you got to remember, it's not what have you done, it's what have you done for me lately. And the last time we saw him, he was on the – but you know what? To be fair to Lo, too, Rajon Wright was like a fan favorite that everyone anticipated making the 53 as an undrafted free agent on the roster, right? Like, that's always a fun time for fans is when that undrafted free agency happens. And you're like, so which one's going to make the roster? Everyone loves Coker. Coker was the big guy then. Rajon was that guy, man. So people believed in Rajon. It wasn't like a complete, hey, he's a bum, he's never going to do it. It just didn't work out.
One guy, and I don't know if maybe it's the number. This is going back to my Packer days, but maybe it's the number. But a guy who had a very aggressive play style, got burned at times, got flags. He's probably one of the best secondary coaches right now in the NFL. He kind of gives me just a tad of Al Harris vibes. And I know, and if you watch, and many people probably have not watched Al Harris at Green Bay. That was my favorite Packers player. That's who I fell in love with at Green Bay. And I think he's an outstanding cornerbacks coach, and I hope he gets a defensive coordinator job here soon. But he kind of gives me that vibe. He's sticky on the guy. Like, he's going to be up in your face. He's going to bump and run type style play.
Sounds like he's a little sticky on Al Harris too, right?
But that's who he kind of like. Just little glimpses of it. So
hope he at least called you afterwards.
But anyway, so man, you guys always are going there.
No, but that's actually not a bad comp. I like that. Chris Harris is a little bit similar, like to the Al Harris, Peanut, who Panthers fans maybe are a little bit more familiar with. Very physical player, doesn't have like the breakaway, in your face glaring speed or anything like that. But he's a tough, defensive minded, physically minded, imposing cornerback that isn't afraid to play through somebody as opposed to around them. So I do understand it, Curtis. I wasn't trying to like joke on you. I was just, when you were sitting there having an intimate moment, recalling that time in the bar with Al Harris, I just wanted to make sure that everyone else was feeling the same.
We got a shout out to, and we remiss to not mention special teams, because yet again.
Can I get another beer before we do that? And if I get another beer, you know what we have to do, though?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And we're back.
Let's talk about special teams, though, because Ryan Fitzgerald has been outstanding. They took a chance on a younger rookie, which we've seen in years past they haven't done, and gets the game-winning field goal. We didn't even know it was a game winner. It felt like forever. The refs would not signal. Did you guys catch that? Did anyone go back in the All-22 and look at that? Because I did not see a ref put up his hands and say
it was nuts, man. That was the weirdest thing, right?
Ridiculous. But special teams, you talk about Ryan Fitzgerald. We talk about the fumble on the kickoff, which they didn't come away with points and was sucked, because that I thought was a pivotal moment in the game and honestly could have really flipped this game on its head, because Carolina had just scored a touchdown. But can we talk about that play? And the name is escaping me who forced the fumble. I think Princely came up with the recovery. And then we have the Ryan Fitzgerald.
And Martin Scott. It was Bam Martin Scott that forced the fumble. Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about special teams for a second, because I feel like.
Bryson, you want to start us off?
Yeah. You're on mute, sir.
My laptop's lagging. I think it's still fucked up from when I spilled beer on it. And I was trying to update the wheel here with one of our new members that we got. But yeah, I mean, special teams, I feel like with Ryan Fitzgerald, man, when like I have full confidence in if we're lining up to kick a game-winning field goal and he's the kicker, that it's going in. I think he's proven nothing but that to this point in the season. So not even the kicking aspect of special teams. He had the forced fumble. He had the forced fumble, early on in the second half. That was huge, right? I think they came away with a field goal. They'd love to got a touchdown there, but it really changed the momentum of the game, and we can't really say that has happened a lot from the special teams over the past couple of years, is that they're making a difference, playing winning football. So awesome play from them. I would like to see more in the punt return games and not just take fair catches. And I'm happy with them not muffing the punts, but I would like to see that aspect of the game at least be a threat. And I really haven't seen that much to this point in the season. So maybe that's the next step for the special teams. But overall, I mean, your kicking is consistent. You force fumbles on kick returns. You can't really ask much more. I'm just being picky and wanting the absolute best that I can get out of them.
Yeah. Sam Martin's a weapon. I mean, Sam Martin is one of this team's most reliable weapons, even in games where we can't score, and the offense is plotting. Sam Martin is consistently changing the field position in his punting. His work getting the ball within the 20 and pinning the opponent's back has been terrific. Ryan Fitzgerald on the kickoffs with the knuckleball. Shout out Tracy Smith and the staff on that entire strategy. You've seen other teams now mimicking the strategy. What do they say? Flattery is mimicking is the biggest form of flattery, whatever the hell it is, impersonation. That's what we're seeing across the league right now. The Panthers are finally one of the teams that does something for the first time, and others are taking heed and following suit. That's a pretty cool thing. But Ryan Fitzgerald, just from his individual standpoint, man, I love that. I absolutely love it, because I think a lot of us, when we did the mock drafts coming into this year, a lot of us were trying to draft Andre Borregales in the 7th round, right? With that final pick. We were like, I want him. Like, I want a kicker, and I want a kicker that's young, that we can grow with, that has a big leg, that can hit those kicks, that I don't have to worry about coming in and having a cap on a 50-yarder, right? Well, not only does Ryan Fitzgerald not have a yardage cap, seemingly, he doesn't have a stones cap. This guy comes in high-pressure situations. It's almost like him and Bryce talk about things like they're having a sleepover the night before these games. They're just both sitting there with the nightlight on and like, oh, man, I can't wait until the pressure's on. I can't wait until everyone doubts us. We're going to do so good. Like, that's the way that these guys perform, is that they have the utmost belief in themselves. Thank you, Lo. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Ricky LOL put the drink down. I have not had a beer in over a week and a half with this sickness. I am going to be a drunk guy tonight, okay? Lo, don't you try to stifle me. Curtis is over here with a damn pigeon mask at me. If I don't keep drinking, I'm going to have a breakdown.
Can we get shots? Can we get shots?
Maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I will have to. That's
Okay.
right. Somebody throw $10 super chat in there and watch me drink this Buffalo Trace. Actually, I got a bottle of Wild. I got a bottle of Eagle Rare. I'll bust out.
Ooh, that's my shit.
No, but Ryan Fitzgerald, man, I'm just very happy for him too, because he's an undrafted free agent. We know that kickers aren't glorified. We know that kickers don't get a whole lot of love. Chicks dig the long ball; they don't dig the kicker, right? This dude is awesome. He's got a great personality. When you hear him in the locker room, he basically looks like Alex Zetlow's little brother. Like him and Zetlow look like they are just two pals that would hang out together. And Zetlow's terrific, by the way. I'm talking about the beat reporter for the Observer. If you don't follow him, please do. One of the best been on the show. He's phenomenal. Fantastic guy. Wordsmith too, just super clever. But yeah, him and Fitzgerald, they look like they're long lost brothers, and it's a cool dynamic to see in the locker rooms. But just a lot of fun. Let's get to these new members, should we, guys? Before we forget about them. Oren Wheeler, appreciate you, man.
Oren.
Cheers. There's 3 more entries into the ticket giveaway.
Yes, sir. Already updated it.
And then still, I think my favorite name on all of YouTube that I've ever come across, Pets in a Bathtub. 3 more tickets. Send them all down. Cheers, Pets.
Brother. Ricky,
now look at this. Now look at Lowe trying to call my bluff. So, Curtis, while you talk about special teams, I'm going to have to take my cowboy ass out there and get this bottle of Eagle Rare. Shot o'clock, fellas. Drinks on the pregame podcast. Lowe, appreciate you, brother. Cheers. I'm going to go grab that bottle for you.
Lowe. Appreciate you, man.
Sorry, y'all. That pigeon mask is I'm sweating under it, so I had to take it off. But Fitzgerald, man, it's good to have a kicker.
Yeah.
He's proven he can kick the long ball. He's come up clutch in a couple of game-winning field goals. His kickoffs have been great. And I love a rookie kicker. Like I've been waiting for this team to finally just take a shot on one of these guys, and they did this year, and it's paid off up to this point. So hats off to him. Special teams, man, that killed me, and this kind of transitions into a conversation I kind of want to have. You get the ball, they muff the kick, and then Carolina doesn't come away with points. And I thought, honestly, if you were playing like a team, because I think Atlanta in that second half it was kind of all but done at that point. They were just, trying to keep that game as close as possible with Kirk Cousins and Penix out and stuff like that when he got hurt. That when you're playing a team like the rest of the season, honestly, with the schedule that Carolina's got, when you have an opportunity like that, I didn't mind them going for it on the 4th and 1 on that play. But to not come away with points on a muff punt on a massive turnover after you had just scored a touchdown was killer. And that could have honestly killed the game if they were playing. Man, Ricky.
Not a muff punt. So a fumble on the kick return. And then earlier I said they came away with a field goal. So you made me recall correctly. They did not come away with any points on that. So that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, they had went for the 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And Canales had talked about it. We'll have Ricky, because I wanted to have the conversation about this. So, Ricky, why don't you take the shot?
Sure.
Cheers, Lo. For Lo here. Appreciate you, Lo.
Appreciate you, man. And that's also 2 more entries into the ticket giveaway. Joko reminds right here to remind everyone, if you cannot go to the game on the 30th, please do not accept the tickets, because we will just spin the wheel again. If you want to donate them, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But if you cannot make it, we don't want the tickets going to waste. We do want Panthers fans in those seats for that game against the Rams. That is a big time game. Worst case scenario, we're 6-6 and we're fighting still for wild card positioning against potentially these Rams or the 49ers that we're playing this week. So cheers to Low and cheers to everyone that's in on this. This is going to get fun tonight, guys. We still have, statistically speaking, I don't know how many more times we're going to play the video. I haven't drank in a week and a half. So, yeah, here's to looking up your address, boys.
But no, I think this is a good point, and I wanted to mention this, but I wanted to make sure Ricky and Joko were on the same page. But we do want someone in these seats. I don't want these going away and selling them again. Like, we want whoever gets these tickets, we want you there at the stadium. That is key. So let's keep that in mind as well. But Ricky, we were having the conversation, Panthers, they get the the muff kick. Dave Canales, they get down 4th and 1. Bryce Young, clock runs out. He gets the snap off. Canales talks about it in that moment. He wishes he would have probably called the timeout to kind of collect their bearings, even though Bryce got it off. I thought if they were playing as you left, like if they were playing basically anyone left on this schedule remaining, that's a huge moment for them not to come up with points in that. What did you think of the call? Did you agree with it? Did you want him to kick it there? Where were your thoughts, I guess, in that moment? And then do you think if they were playing like a better team, because I think there's better teams out there than Atlanta, clearly, that could have bit them in the ass in the end?
Could have, maybe. I had a couple thoughts on it. And that was first in the post game when you saw like the celebration conversation, right, with Dave Canales talking. And he said to the team, he says, hey, I tried to take it away from you. I tried to mess you up a few times, guys. I think this is one of the instances he was talking about because he said that he could have been better in this instance. He wanted to be able to talk through it. He was aware that the clock was dwindling down. He thought that he could get the timeout off before Bryce got the play called and the snap hiked. He thought that he had an opportunity there. And I think that he was taking a little bit of responsibility for that. I don't have any problem at all with the call. I was actually surprised at how many people did have a problem with it. I understand that maybe you're like, hey, it's 4th and 1, like just run the football. I also think that what you're looking at is Bryce Young is a very comfortable player in that kind of position. You're trying to be aggressive. You're trying to prove that you just came out. You're trying to put the foot on the neck of the opponent, who is your division rival, right? I like doing that, man. I like having the aggressive style. I like trusting Bryce Young. And people say, well, why would you put him out on a rollout when he's got the hurt ankle? He was moving around okay. And the decision, I think, is really the tough part. I think that Bryce could have possibly thrown that ball on that play. It would have delivered a hit. Mitchell Evans would have took a hit getting that ball, but there was a window to throw it to Mitch there and get that first down. I think Bryce was a tiny bit hesitant on the decision. Maybe he saw that hit coming too and didn't want to put his man in peril, decided he'd put himself in conflict, tried to run and get it, wasn't able to do it. I don't mind the mentality, man. This is the thing that I always hated about, and we all love Ron Rivera, right? Everyone loves him, Riverboat Ron. I hated how Riverboat Ron was only Riverboat Ron when it was obvious. He wasn't Riverboat Ron all the time. If you want to have an aggressive, I'm going to show you and I'm going to beat you mentality, all I have asked from Dave Canales is to quit playing like he's scared of losing and to start playing like he enjoys winning. I thought that what he did by making some of these decisions in this game proved that he wanted to win and that he was going for it and that he wasn't scared of that. So, yeah, execution, he wanted to be better. Maybe the timeout would have helped. He might have looked at that situation a little bit differently and said, all right, we're going to run something different now. We're going to, put an extra wrinkle into something. I didn't have a problem with it, man. Keep that same mentality. You're going to need it against a team like San Francisco too, because you can't just give them the ball and plan on stopping them every single time. That San Francisco offense is better than Atlanta. So you're going to have to come to a point when you play these better teams, when you play the Rams, when you play the Seahawks, when you play the Buccaneers, you got to match them. You can't put every single thing on the defensive side and say, hey, we just need y'all to keep on coming up with stops, man, because one of these 7 times we're going to score. Hell no. Get the points when you can. And I'm not just talking about the field goals. When you know you need touchdowns, get the touchdowns. But 3 different opportunities they came away with no points, I think, in this game. That was the backbreaker. It wouldn't have been so bad if it was 1. But it was the multiple times, I think, is what ended up happening.
Yeah, to kind of push back on that, and Joko just took it from me, is you can be like Dan Campbell and go for it 5 times, and he probably should have kicked a couple field goals in that game this past week.
In that.
And they might have won that game.
The win was crazy too, though, to be fair, for Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell has proven NFC Championship game a couple years ago, he put them in a very bad position going forward.
I said he was going to eat kneecaps, man. Do you really think that he's going to do anything that makes a lot of sense?
That. But no, I'm just saying, like, that's me. If I was in that situation, you got to come away with points there. And that is going to bite you in the end when you're playing really good teams. And it's that simple. Like when you're playing the Niners and the Bucks, and I know you want to score touchdowns, but you look back at that was huge in that game. If Atlanta was a viable team where you put up points, like that's just the reality of it. And kind of going fast forward a little bit, the 2-point conversion play, I don't think that gets talked about enough. The second one that they did, which they converted on with Jalen Coker in the back of the end zone, that was probably it was the biggest moment in that game. And no one's talking about it. If they would have missed that, the defense sold out on that last drive and let Kirk Cousins. Now it didn't help that the special teams gave up they got the ball at the 40-yard line to start that drive.
That was crazy, right?
But
Kick that thing through the end.
But you also let Kirk Cousins march down the field. I mean, they were almost threatening for a touchdown in that drive at the end. Like we had Mike Jackson lined up on their number 1, Drake London, and he held up. But that pass, that would have set them up 1st and goal if that was complete. Like, so they're like those situations. Not a lot of people are talking about that Jalen Coker 2-point conversion. That was huge because if they didn't get that, we might be talking about a loss here. Like, seriously. So, anyway, I just thought there were moments in this game. That one, Canales, it paid off. And I mean, that was obvious. Like, you had to go for that in that moment. But just going back to that kick, I thought they needed to come away with points on that one. But that's just me.
Sometimes, do y'all ever feel like when we break these things down, right, and we talk about like play by play, big moment by big moment type of thing, you ever think sometimes we also forget the fact that like it's a sports game of 60 minutes, it's football, it's a competitive back and forth thing where every single team and every single player is going to have good moments and bad moments. I have never watched a single sports event, let alone football, where the game went flawlessly for a team, right? Like, I just haven't seen it. So, like, sometimes, man, I'm like, let's give a little, and I'm not talking about us, right, what we're talking about here, but the conversations in general about this team, about the players, about everything, it feels like if we're not scoring 40 and throwing for 300 and getting 7 sacks a game, there's going to be a collective that are upset about things. We went into Atlanta and we swept the Atlanta Falcons. We were over here talking with our friends on a Wednesday night, drinking beers with pneumonia. Like, we're having fun because of these Carolina Panthers, for crying out loud. We've talked about seesaws. Curtis, rubbed up on Al Harris. Like, Bryson's wearing, a pink cowboy hat like Orville Peck. This is just phenomenal times to be a Carolina Panthers fan. And maybe it's that shot already taking its effect. But
it's definitely the
tell
shot.
Everyone how much I love you. Merry Christmas. Like just all the good things.
Well, Joko, I mean, I don't want to put this out in the world, but he says, hey, we win Monday, I'll give away 3 tickets. I don't care anymore. Just take all my money. I just want to win.
Look at Joko. Careful, man. This is what happened last time when we talked about that Packers game, Joko. And then both of us ended up texting each other later that day. All right, man, what are we going to do about these tickets?
Well, I do think it's time to Ricky is a growling dude.
That That was pretty damn good.
Okay.
Those shots are talking at this moment.
Yeah, I'm talking back too. I feel like Geno Smith.
Appreciate
I'm
you,
writing
Christian
back.
Johnson, 9.99. Thank you, sir.
It's 2 more entries for Christian as well. Nice job, Christian.
Yeah. And when I cracked this beer, it smelled like straight skunk. So that's why I was looking under it to make sure.
I was wondering. I was like,
Yeah.
what has he got going on there? Like he's looking up at the bottom for the hole. I don't know.
It didn't smell
Bryson.
good, but it tastes fine. So I'm going to drink it.
Okay. Yeah. That's always my rule of thumb. It doesn't always have to smell good as long as it tastes good. I'm talking about beer, man. Grow up. Come on.
Are we ready for statistically speaking?
Let's do it.
Is that what you were actually getting at? Was
Yeah.
statistically speaking? Yeah, we can do that too. Let's get into it. I missed being involved on this last week as well. That's not the thing that I'm looking for, is it? That's the picture.
Hey, we held it down, man.
No, you guys did a great job, man. You guys did a great job. Seriously, I watched it. I watched a little bit before I fell asleep, and then I watched the rest of the next day. Thought you guys did a great job on the episode, man. I appreciate you.
I bumbled my way through. Bryson did a good job, but
well, it's a lot to talk about sometimes, man. You know what I mean? Does somebody want to do the Panthers or does somebody want to do the 49ers? What y'all thinking?
we'll keep it status quo.
Okay. So I'll start with the Carolina Panthers then. Let's start with the Carolina Panthers offense. 18.8 points per game offensively for the Panthers. That is 28th in the league. I believe that's up from 30th. Pretty interesting what that one game will do to you. There's other stats too that just jumped by like 4 or 5 positions. 20 yards on the pass yards per game. We average 187.2 passing yards per game. It was 164 going into the Atlanta game. So now we average 23 yards more per game because of Bryce Young showing everybody that he has nuts that they hang. Rushing yards per game, Carolina Panthers 127.1. That is 9th in the league. That still, I think, is where we are, man. I think we're a top 10, top 12 rushing unit in this league, and I just think it's a matter of consistency when the pass game balances it out. EPA per pass play, we are tied for 25th in the league at negative 0.15 expected points added per pass play. EPA per rush play, we are tied for 15th, right there in the middle. Negative 0.04, stuck in the middle with you. Pass percentage, Carolina Panthers, 54.4% of the time on offense, they are throwing the ball. That is tied for 22nd. I like where that is, to be completely honest. I think that, you know, everyone talks about it, Bryson, that Dave Canales wants to be a run-heavy offense and that's the identity of the team. I think that it's just a very balanced offense. I think he wants Bryce Young to be able to throw the football around. I think Bryce wants to be able to throw the football around. You put him in those spread looks, those shotgun empty looks, those shotgun 2x2s, 3x1s. Those are his bread and butter, man. Let him do his thing. And I think that as they continue to do that, the run game becomes more effective out of those looks. Because right now we're at a place where I think that the run game has been better underneath center. The pass game is better underneath or out of shotgun where he's got a little bit more time and pre-diagnostic ability. I think once that balances it out, man, we're really going to be cooking with some grease. Defensively for the Carolina Panthers, tied for 12th in the league, averaging 22.6 points per game allowed. What a beautiful feeling that is after years, Bryson, of just getting mud hole after mud hole stomped into us by other teams. Passing yards per game, 212.8 allowed per game. That is 18th in the league. Or is that 16th? Can't see. 16th, I believe.
16th, yeah.
16th, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking from like a distance right now, even though I have this thing magnified. Rushing yards per game, 113.1 points or rushing yards per game allowed. That is 17th in the league. We're giving up
wheels are falling off
per game. We're in trouble. 113 yards on the ground. EPA per pass play against us, we are 0.07 on the positive side. That's 25th. That's the thing about our pass defense, man, is that like, and you'll see it too with the EPA per pass on offense. The 49ers have the same way. Teams score more throwing the football. So the EPA on these passes are always going to look skewed as opposed to the EPAs on these rushes. Don't be completely manipulated by that. And sometimes you're talking about a decimal point being the difference between 4 or 5 different positions in rankings because so many teams are tied. It is just the way that these statistics work, these advanced analytics. They are very small margins. EPA per rush, like we're just talking about, negative 0.05 allowed. That is tied for 12th in the NFL. Our rushing defense, man, that I think is the story of the season, if you want my honest opinion. So far, through 11 games, I think that our turnaround as a rush defense has been the absolute biggest story for me in the Carolina Panthers. Opponents are throwing the ball 55.6% of the time against us. Let's get into the keys. Do y'all have anything that you wanted to talk about before we got into the keys? Should we just barrel through? We're good? Okay. Forward, onward. Yards before contact per attempt for the Carolina Panthers offense, 1.29. That is tied for 17th. Seems like a nothing burger, right? Doesn't seem super big or important. We'll show you why, though, later when we look at the San Francisco 49ers, as we like to do with this segment of keys, where we point out what one team does well, one team doesn't do well, and Bryson puts his hat on real low so that he looks like a criminal with a pink cowboy hat. 38.4% quarterback pressure rate allowed by the Carolina Panthers, 27th in the league. So the offensive line, for as decent as they've been, and I think that they performed pretty well. I don't think that they've been stellar, but I think that they've been pretty dang good. They are still allowing a good amount of pressures on the quarterback. That usually is an area where it is troublesome for Bryce Young and for the offense. We're going to talk about that with the San Francisco 49ers. Bryson, you brought it up, and I was so happy that you did earlier because I knew what I had on the statistically speaking slides here. 9. That is the number of players with reception in Week 11 for the Carolina Panthers. That ain't a season-long statistic. That ain't nothing else. But you bet your ass that's a key to this Carolina Panthers offense. Distributing that ball around, but doing it organically because they didn't sacrifice involving Teteroa McMillan to make everybody else get catches. They still ran the offense the way that Dave Canales has talked about from day one, wanting a focal point to his offense. It's what he wanted from Deontay Johnson. It's what he wanted when he drafted Xavier Legette. It's what he wants with Teteroa McMillan. He wants a focal point. He wants to have something to rest his bones on, right? That's it. Teteroa McMillan is your wide receiver 1. It doesn't matter if it's as a traditional X. It doesn't matter if it's at the Z. It doesn't matter if it's like it was on Sunday where he takes a ton of snaps out of the slot because you know what? He's really damn good from there. And the NFL isn't built just around boundary wide receivers. The NFL, some of the best players, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins runs a bunch of in the slot, and he's a bigger guy. The matchups are what win in the modern day NFL, creating advantages for your personnel. Dave Canales did it, afforded Bryce Young the ability to spread that ball around and distribute. As David Tepper so eloquently said back in the golden days, distributing the ball with routes. That's what Bryce Young did, and he did it well on Sunday. Shout out Big Tep. Quarterback pressure rate for the Carolina Panthers defense. This is something we said we would not move all year unless they got good at it. Well, guess what? It's still up there at number 1 up here. 28% though, quarterback pressure rate, boys. Now they were at 27.2, I believe, going into last week. So that's going up. It's going up a little bit. I got the green arrow back in action this week from 31st to 30th. And I got another surprise for you for all this to tie into each other. There is another team that is not as good as us. And we're going to talk about it in a second. Team yards after catch allowed. Big one against the Shanahan offense. We've allowed 1,207. That is 21st in the league. Not the worst, not terrific, but it is notable for what we're going to go up against. Success rate per rush on the defensive side, right? 37.1% success rate. We are one of the top 10 teams in the league as far as opponent success rate running the football. That means that we make their operation unsuccessful over 70% or over 62% of the time. That's remarkable, man. You think about it, honestly, teams could yell run at the Panthers the past 4 seasons and they would get 2 yards. Like they could just yell the word. They didn't even have to do it, man. They could just say, hey, verb, and we would all just kind of like move out of the way. Be like, all right, that's 2. All right. But now the Carolina Panthers are playing with gap discipline. The gap and a half scheme that Evero has put in here, it is working for Derek Brown. It works for A'Shawn Robinson. It is working for Turk Wharton. I mean, it is really coming together. Bobby Brown has made a difference. Bryson, you brought him up earlier, and I'm glad that you did. Or was it Curtis? I'm not really sure. You both look the same. One of you used to have a bird head on, and now it's not there, so I'm just lost. But I think that this defense is really coming together. They're gelling. Speaking of coming together, I'm going to come together to my beer can. You guys let me know what you thought about that segment.
I just want to say You know the Panthers are having success when we don't mention David Tepper until week 11 of the NFL season. So I just want to say kudos to us.
Yeah,
Bryson?
I was going to say, I think there's only one person solely responsible for that quarterback pressure rate to climb even just a fraction of a decimal point. And it's the only player that I feel like coming off that edge is making a difference. And that's the guy we highlighted earlier, Nick Swarton, man. So shout out to him. He is willing this team from being the bottom of the league in quarterback pressure rate to, hey, maybe not the worst, but definitely not the best. He's trying his best out there, man. So shout out to Nick Swarton.
Hey, can we shout out Lowe real quick in the chat? I don't know if you guys did this while we were doing it, but Lowe in the chat said, next person that gives a super chat could take my 2 entries because Lowe got extra entries for the shot that he bought me, which, by the way, I certainly appreciate that. He did that, and then Keaton dropped in here with the super chat. So first, well, cheers, Keaton. Cheers, Keaton. And what an opportunistic SOB you are, Keaton, because you done got yourself 2 extra tickets to the rodeo. That's right. We're going to stick with it.
Cheers, Keaton.
Lowe gave him a nice handshake. You know I love a good handshake. But now, shout out Lowe. That was terrific.
If I'm not mistaken, is Keaton the one that lives in Alaska?
Keaton, I thought you did live in Alaska. What you planning on doing on November 30th, pal?
Is he coming down?
He'll be here in Charlotte.
Is he coming down for the Rams game?
We're going to need to know something here. And then Joko, that was not my intention, says, and Rick, don't try to make me look like I'm broke. I hit you up ASAP. Of course you did. I'm just telling you that we didn't have any belief that we were going to have to buy those tickets. Joko ain't broke. Joko just said he'd buy 3 tickets if we win on Monday. That man might be made of money for as much as I know, man. He was very quick and very adamant about hitting me up to make sure that he made good on his bet. And that's when I also told him, hey, look, I'll go through my car. I'll pick out all the change to see if I can't afford a ticket too.
Keaton says, put a little yee-haw or yee-maw.
Look at Curtis. Curtis is drunk as a pigeon up there.
No.
Can't even say nothing. The only thing he said correctly all night is Al Harris.
Damn it, guys. I want to ask about this success rate per rush on this key. I'm always bad at the numbers here with that's a good stat, correct? The tied
for us being in the top 10 like that. That's good. Yes.
So that's saying they're having success with the rush, they're just not getting home.
No, that's showing that we are eliminating success for opponents. That's on the defensive side. Opponents are not finding success. A successful rushing attempt is positive yardage. We are not allowing success.
I was looking at it as a pass rush.
We are not allowing success per rush. And that is a really important thing because when we go to the 49ers section, you'll see why. It shows how impressive it is. And then it puts this juxtaposition of what we're going to face against San Francisco and Santa Clara.
I'm glad I asked that because I'm sure there is someone out there who's as dumb as me who doesn't understand some of these. So I'm glad I asked because I feel like explaining that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. If I win the tickets, can y'all give them someone who's never been? Did we put this up here? Who's never been to a Panthers game, please? That's awesome. I appreciate you, Keith.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yep. But actually, you know what though? If he wins the tickets, we're just going to have to spin it again because then we would be choosing the winner. We can't do that.
Yeah. So if Keaton,
if you win it, we'll just spin it again, man. How about that? And Keaton, we'll send you something out, man. We'll send you something. If you win it, we're going to spin it again, but we'll send you something. So you send us your address, and if you win in one of these, on this giveaway, we got some exclusive stuff we can shoot over to you, man.
All right, Bryson.
All right, let's get into the San Francisco offense. Probably looking a little different with Brock Purdy under center now versus Mac Jones, who played pretty well, I would say, throughout his time starting. Curtis is a big Mac Jones lover. God, I don't know how, but he is.
Mac Jones or Al Harris, which one does it for you?
You should have seen the text we had back in the day regarding Mac Jones. Curtis.
Oh boy!
Hey, with the right staff, he can spin it a little bit. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay, all right, that's enough of.
Yeah, I bet you'd like it if he spun your staff, huh, little buddy?
All right, 22.9 points per game, tied 14th in the league. This is very surprising to me. 254.5 passing yards per game, second most in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan is a good coach, but again, we were talking about Mac Jones being the quarterback for a lot of this season, and then Brock Purdy coming back. but they've been able to pass the ball, and they've had injuries at the wide receiver position. Kittle's been out, but I know McCaffrey factors into that as well. This is a potent offense here. All right, rushing 94.8 yards per game, 27th in the league. So their rushing attack isn't very good. Even with Christian McCaffrey, I think that's surprising to me as well. I guess that would probably play into the offensive line, and maybe there's some keys here later on that might factor into that. All right, at plus 0.08 EPA per pass is 10th in the NFL. Again, an effective pass game. Kyle Shanahan is a master of scheming things up, so that's going to be a challenge for this team. EPA per rush is negative 0.07. That's tied 22nd in the NFL. And then they are passing 58% of the time, which is 13th most in the NFL.
Can I just say something while we're on their offense? I'm shocked at the rush yards per game. Like that number, it seems wrong, doesn't it? Am I the only one that?
No,
and I haven't watched a ton of San Fran this year, but
the problem is, man, Christian McCaffrey is getting the volume. He's a volume guy right now. His yards, and there is something on the keys that'll go into this. They're not dynamic, man. Like the Shanahan offense is built on stressing outside, right? It's their outside zone principle of the run game. But their offensive line is good. Bryson, you mentioned, is there an issue with the offensive line or something? No, their offensive line is good. It's better in pass pro than it is in run blocking. I think Trent Williams is still the best left tackle in all of football. Dominic Puny, their right guard, is terrific. Colton McKivitz is really nice in pass pro, but they're not overly physical outside of Trent Williams. It's a little bit more finesse to it. Though I think the thing that also changed it, though, is that the Shanahan offense runs is predicated, the success of it is so much off of play action, off of the run game. And with Mac Jones in place, I don't think that they ran play action as much as you should anticipate seeing it from Brock Purdy. They ran play action, I think, 30th or 31st in the league rate-wise, which is wild compared to what Shanahan typically does. And I think it's because Mac Jones isn't much of a threat on those rollouts. Like, he needs to be standing still. He needs to be on his spot and executing quickly. I think that Brock Purdy opens that up a little bit more. They also don't have the Deebo Samuel. They don't have Brandon Ayuk out there. Like, it's Jawan Jennings. Ricky Pearsall has been hurt. He's finally back. Jacob Cowing is on IR. Like, this has been a depleted offense, man. It's not the boogeyman that we've seen before. But Christian McCaffrey defenses are honing in on right now, and he doesn't have the same explosiveness as a runner.
All right, so we'll get into the defense here.
Bryson's like, shut up, Ricky.
23.2 points per game allowed, 16th in the NFL. This is a defense that, again, is decimated with injuries. They've lost a lot of players, Bosa, Fred Warner. So I don't know what's happening over in San Francisco. They might need a whole entire new training staff over there, but I feel like every single year San Francisco is dealing with these kinds of injuries. 249.1 passing yards per game, 28th in the NFL. So they're allowing some good amount of yards passing. I know Brissett had a really good game versus this defense. I think someone in the chat had mentioned it earlier. At 103.8 rush yards per game, that's 12th in the NFL. They are allowing plus 0.9 EPA per pass, which is tied 28th in the NFL. And then on the rushing side, they are allowing negative 0.03 EPA per rush, tied 17th. And teams are passing 59.4% of the time, which is 11th in the NFL against this defense. Anything stick out to you guys here? Bueller?
Curtis, did you want to answer? Sorry, I was in the middle of it. I thought Curtis was going to say something. I looked up and I realized that he didn't have the pigeon hat on, so I thought he was going to talk, but he didn't.
I was retweeting a tweet here about Cam Newton's celebrating Bryce Young's celebration in the locker room. Yeah, I haven't been paying attention. I'll be honest with you.
No, Bryson, I will talk because I have been paying attention to the show that we've been actively involved in. No, nothing stands out for me other than what we just discussed with the rushing game, right? Because of the Shanahan principles of the offense. First, shout out Low Rocket NASA reposting the stream, man. Appreciate you, Rocket. Always, dude. I don't know if Rocket's got any entries in here, but I know that he follows it, man. Rocket, man, put yourself an entry in there, bro.
Has he seen the pigeon head?
No, Rocket ain't seen the pigeon head, man. Put it on. Show Rocket the pigeon head. It's ridiculous. He's gonna
cue the video
for that. He's probably got, honestly, Rocket probably has some sort of video graphic or response meme thing that he can put up that looks exactly like your pigeon head. I guarantee it, man.
Cue the video.
You want me to do the video? Okay, hold on.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Let's go. Rocket, I hope you're sitting down when you have to see that up there in the top corner, because that's going to knock you down, man. That is a wicked thing. He cocks that head like a real bird too, man. I think that it was supposed to be look at him pecking, looking exactly like Bijan Robinson right now. We're taking the dirty bird sweep as far as we possibly can, because it ain't happened in a long time, man. We're just trying to really enjoy what we got going here. What do they say? You're reaping what you sow, and the Carolina Panthers have been sowing their fucking oats down there in Atlanta and here in Charlotte when Atlanta comes. So
Curtis is just living up to his name as a peckerhead, dude. He is.
Oh, look at that. I like it. I like it. Maybe Al Harris is just a really big fan of pigeons. maybe he flew them. Maybe he had messenger birds or something, right? Maybe it was him and Tyson on the top of a Brooklyn building.
Hey, maybe this Joko comment, maybe.
Where the hell do you get these thoughts, Rick?
Don't ask, man. Don't ask questions that you don't want answers to, okay?
Ricky, maybe you can call the next Jake Paul boxing match here.
I would never, because I actually enjoy boxing, and I would never call a Jake Paul boxing match because he's a disgrace to the sport. I saw a meme about something with Jake, and now we're really going off the rails here, but I saw a meme where it was Jake Paul accepting like some sort of YouTuber of the Year award, where Joshua Anthony Joshua had just beat Vladimir Klitschko in an actual boxing match on the same exact date that year. So really interesting juxtaposition about the fact that this guy is just trying to make money. But hey, what am I saying? Katie says Ricky's having the time of his life. You're damn right I am, Katie. I had the flu and pneumonia. I didn't know if I was going to make it out, guys. I was texting Bryson and Curtis, and I was like, I'm fucked up, guys. Like, I'm in big time trouble. Like, Big Trouble Little China. I was Jack Nicholson wearing a seersucker blazer, right? Everything was bad news. Now here I am.
I swear to God, Ricky has a metaphor for everything in life.
Every single thing.
Everything. Just like off the dome. Like, I wish I could think that quickly.
That's how I'm put together, man. That's the way that my jibs connect, you know?
All right, we're going to get into the keys here before we get off track again. Keys in regards to the San Francisco 49ers.
Putting us in line again.
Sorry,
yeah, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, and we haven't even touched on the game this weekend. So 3.5 team rushing yards per play, 32nd in the NFL. I guess that's a bad stat in regards to rushing offense that hasn't been very potent.
That's what we were talking about with McCaffrey. Yeah. That's their average yard per rush. They're the worst in the league from a team. 3.5.
Crazy.
It's volume. It is not effectiveness, man. They're not a very good rushing team right now.
Keaton said this is Ricky's Jordan game.
Flu game, baby.
All right, 1,359 team yak yards, fourth in the NFL. Ricky touched on earlier with the Panthers allowing yak, and then the 49ers are obtaining that at a high level. So that's definitely something that Carolina's going to have to key in on.
And that's the Shanahan offense we talked about, right, Bryson? Yeah. They stress you horizontally with the run. They take you on the outside with the outside zone, but then they create space off of that, usually with play action. But a lot of pre-snap eye candy. They test your discipline from the second and third level. That is what they do.
Don't have the linebackers start.
And that's right. And Curtis brought it up. Curtis said it himself. He says that's what worries him. It's a fair, valid point. But I think that when we look at what the 49ers also have on the other side It's going to be a give or take, man. I think this is a fun game. I was about to say in Candlestick because I'm old as shit. It's not Candlestick anymore, but it's going to be a fun game, man, against the 49ers.
All right, 32% quarterback pressure rate allowed, which is tied 10th in the NFL. Switching to the defensive keys here. 25.5% quarterback pressure rate allowed, 32nd in the NFL. So that is good or bad?
That means they're the worst.
Okay.
They're the worst quarterback pressure team in the NFL. And just to make it even better, they have no Bosa and Mikael Williams, their rookie that every Panthers fan hated, that actually was playing pretty solid. He's out. So they're down both of their best edge rushers. And we have Travis Gibson on our team instead of their practice squad. Yeah. So they've gone from 32nd out of 32 to maybe 35th or something, just out of default because they done lost some cool shit. I mean, look, man, that's what I'm saying. We give up pressures, 27th. They don't get them, and they're one arm tied behind them. They basically are pressuring the quarterback with Bryce Young's one ankle. Is how they're going to attack this thing, right? It ain't gonna be good. All
right. 51.3% success rate per dropback, 30th in the NFL, and then 44.6% success rate per rush at 29th in the NFL. Again, it's a defense ravaged with injuries, missing their leader in Fred Warner, missing their best edge rusher, and is it Joey in San Francisco? I always get those brothers confused. It might be Nick, actually.
No, it's Nick in San Fran, I believe. Okay. I think Joey is the one that was in Buffalo who's also hurt, I believe.
Yeah, it's Nick.
Okay. Yeah. So
and this could have been there could have been so many revenge games for the 49ers between YGM and Eddie P. Eddie P's gonna be out. I feel like Eddie P was just scared to play Carolina. I really do.
Fucking Eddie P. Oh man.
He's ducking the smoke.
I think so, man. He's already in Cabo for all we know.
Wearing a mesh shirt.
Ricky, I always feel like you have some extra things here after this keys. Do you got?
I got a couple things. Do you want me to put up a couple of things just to show a demonstration of a couple of these things?
Do a magic trick for us.
So when we talk about the defense, right? I've got some really cool charts here, and you guys know I'm not a really big chart person. But what I'm a really big fan of Cody Alexander, and Cody Alexander has his site in his books that he writes. He was a defensive coach at the University of Baylor. He's worked at multiple stops, but he's one of the best in the business. I respect his opinion as much as anybody in his work. This is the NFL defense. What do defenses do as far as disguising coverages, giving you straight up looks at the line of scrimmage? You see Carolina over here. We're one of the better at disguising. He's got us at an 81 score. San Francisco is up here at 86. Now, 100 is the most predictable, and 0 is the least predictable. The bottom of the axis here is 78. So it's not like you're going to get down into the 40s or 50s. It is what it is. 81 for the Panthers. We do a lot of post-snap disguise, right? We do a lot of rotation. We talked about it earlier with Shaw Smith-Way. We talked about it with the safeties. They like to move what you see pre-snap, right? The 49ers don't do that. For the most part, what you see with the 49ers is what you get. Let's go into another chart to show a little bit more about that, though, okay? Let's look at this one. This right here is the master defensive plan right here. So
it's like trigonometry.
Are you making jokes here?
No, no. This is
what does that look like?
Look, here's the thing. Curtis saw this graph and immediately thought of Al Harris. I don't know what that says, but he immediately thought of his time with Al Harris. But no, this is not. This is like look at this more as a Venn diagram instead of an Al diagram. Okay, Curtis, just take your mind off of it for a damn second, man. Goodness gracious. What this
one
is,
time
though,
I go in the weeds, you guys go in the weeds.
Over on the left side, that left axis is the middle of the field close rate, right? The middle of the field, Christian Johnson, get out of here. Hey, Johnson, your last name. Don't talk about it, okay? The middle of the field close rate over here, access. That means you're talking about cover 3, you're talking about cover 1, right? You've got a safety in the middle, and your corners are either playing the deeps or you're playing man coverage, and you just have the middle of the field closed. Cover 2, stuff like that, quarters, you're going to have a little bit more of that middle of the field open. So on this one, Carolina is up there in that top left quadrant, as is San Francisco, because we're cover 3 heavy. But you'll notice that we're involved in this second part, the shaft, as Curtis would call it, where we're in the aggressive, open, chaos or disguise part of the bubble as well, not just the testes of conservative close behind or bend, don't break. Because a lot of what Carolina does is the post-snap rotation where they do hide a little bit of what they're doing. That also has to do with some of the things that we're doing with dime. We're running a little bit of different looks there. We're running different big nickel looks with Trayvon Merrick. Merrick has really been a key to open up that entire shaft part of this graph. And then the conservative part up there is still the reliance on the cover 3. We still do a lot of zone. We play a lot of off coverage. That's the bend, don't break. You give them what they can take, but then you kind of clamp down, and which Curtis doesn't like to hear with this kind of phallical shape on a screen is clamping down. But
Ricky,
let's move to another one real quick.
I got a question. I got a question real quick about
yes, sir.
the graph, if you'll bring it back up for me.
Yeah, I will.
So on this graph, is it good to be in the left ball, the right ball, or in the shaft? What area?
Honestly, either testy is fine. And you know what? If you're in all of them, then you're really having a good time. But if you Lance Armstrong it over there on one side only, it's not a bad thing. The main thing is you want to be in that oblong phallical cone shape, if you will, because you want a little bit of aggression, right? You want a little aggression, you want a little bit of balance. So that's really, and you look at the defenses in there, though, those are fun defenses, right? Carolina, New England, Washington, you've got with what's his name, Dan Quinn over there. Indianapolis has had a really nice year. And then the top right, you got a little bit more of like the New Orleans, Atlanta. That's what we've seen the past 2 weeks, where they do a lot of that man look, a lot of the cover 1, where it's aggressive close because they blitz at a high rate as well. This is absolutely terrible. It has gone off the rails. And the best part is how fluid we have been throughout the entire thing. I don't want to get Curtis too excited by saying fluids with this shape on the screen, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go into this next one then real quick so that I can get myself out of a jackpot. This right here is the pressure rate to blitz rate, or the simulated pressure rate to blitz rate. This is something that we've talked about with Carolina that I wish that we did more, was the simulated pressures. We're right here, which is, a little bit less than average at the 0.06 simulated pressure rate. Our blitz rate, we know that we're low. We play a lot of that bend, don't break like we just saw in the Dick picture, where we're very conservative over there in the nutsack. This one here is a little bit more showing how do you change, like the disguise, the long part of it. The disguise is supposed to be the simulated pressure. That's where we go up a little bit. So we do have that disguise element. But if you're up here like LA, the Chargers, right? Philadelphia, Buffalo, these are the teams that do a whole lot more of that post-snap. This is where we really show you that we're coming after it. We mug the line of scrimmage. But then the Carolina Panthers are down here, and our blitz rate is even lower because we don't send pressure that often. A lot of that is personnel. A lot of that is philosophy. But the San Francisco 49ers, you'll notice, are on the same quadrant and lower than us. The point of what I'm trying to show you here with some of these defensive things is how similar the defenses are. And yet Carolina is much more efficient and much more effective running a relatively similar philosophy. Robert Saleh is the defensive coordinator there in San Francisco. And you'll remember that there was a lot of fans that thought, hey, we know Dave Canales loves the system, the scheme that Ejiro Evero runs here, but fans wanted Ejiro Evero out. And they said, why not go to Saleh? Saleh can do the same with the personnel. He's got experience with Dave Canales, right? Like, this is something that is a easy, simple transition. And what I'm trying to show you is that they are running that, and they're running it in San Francisco where everyone seems to love it. But Carolina is playing better defense right now than these guys. The last one that I'll present to you here is a little bit clearer, a little bit easier to understand. Not a single penis on the graph. The Carolina Panthers are down here in the very bottom left. It does say sack, so Curtis, take it easy for a second. The Panthers are down here in the bottom left, not laughed. I did laugh. But then behind them, in the very, very, very bottom of this quadrant of shame, I like to think of the lower left quadrant on some of these little picture graphs as the quadrant of shame. That's what I always say in my head. And I don't know why. No one else can hear it. I'm just an idiot who likes to make things fun. And the San Francisco 49ers are all over here by themselves. Somebody did put baby in the corner. That's bad news bears for the San Francisco 49ers. It's good news for the Carolina Panthers. Now, with Brock Purdy back in play, and with them, what I anticipate running play action a lot more than the 17% they've run on the season, I do wonder if they can mitigate our pass rush even more by implementing more play action. We're going to bite down on the whole Christian McCaffrey rushing attack part, Christian McCaffrey's biggest threat, honestly, is going to be his work out of the slot as a slot receiver and his work out of the backfield as a receiver. That's much more threatening to the Carolina Panthers than any of the rushing out of the backfield. Brian Robinson may see some extra carries to try to add a power element to this. The Panthers give up the most yardage from an outside run perspective, right? If you look at our run susceptibility, we give out the most yardage from an outside run. The San Francisco 49ers run outside zone, but they don't run a whole lot of runs inside or outside the tackles. It's just the way that scheme works. The scheme moves the linemen horizontally, right? And then opens up lanes for cutbacks. It doesn't mean, when you say outside zone, it doesn't mean that you're running every single thing outside of the tackles. Outside zone means that you're pushing to the boundaries and you're stressing those edge defenders, because if they don't have and maintain gap integrity, there are cutback lanes, and that's where you take off in an outside zone, that stretch zone. That is the principle of the Kyle Shanahan run offense. It's relatively similar to what Dave Canales likes to do with the Carolina Panthers, although he's mixed in a whole lot more of gap and counter and some of the duo man stuff. So yeah, those are the graphs that I had just to add a little extra flair. I did not realize that it was going to be a whole lot of dick innuendo going on there. I apologize about that, but it seems like everyone enjoyed it. So good stuff.
Best part of the show, Ricky.
Tony, fantastic. Ricky knows balls. I mean ball. Cheers, Tone.
Well, let's go to the predictions, and then we'll get to the ticket giveaway. So, who wants to start?
You guys talk first. I just talked for so long and said so many things about penises.
I'll go, Curtis. This game is not going to be easy, right? You're playing a team with a coach that is one of the best in the NFL. I don't think that we can argue that. Kyle Shanahan has, he hasn't really done like one to the level of like a Super Bowl in the playoffs, but in the regular season and leading up to the NFC Championship, he's been a really good coach. I think this game, we are missing probably missing two prominent linebackers on this defense, in Rose Boom and Trevin Wallace, prominent in regards to this defense, and what they mean. Going up against Christian McCaffrey, the wide receivers don't necessarily scare me for this 49ers team, but I do think Juwan Jennings he's put up some crazy numbers this season. If you go and look through his game-by-game basis, he's put up over 100 yards a couple of times. Ricky Pearsall is in his second game back, returning from injury. First game didn't do much, but I expect him to be involved at a higher level. Brock Purdy, again, returning. I think this game's going to come down to what offense performs better. And what defense do I trust more in regards to what we just learned about the 49ers defense, who has significant injuries but has not performed well, and the Carolina Panthers defense, who is relatively healthy and has performed way above expectation to this point in the season. This game's going to be close, and I think the Panthers are going to either win or lose. I think they're going to show that they are a competent football team on Monday night. And I think they are going to win the game. I think coming off of what happened last week, Bryce's confidence is at all-time high. He set the passing record for this franchise, right? I think Canales' confidence is at an all-time high in Bryce Young in this offense. I think you cannot dismiss that coming off of last week against the number one pass defense in the NFL. So I got Carolina winning, and I'm going to say Carolina wins the game 27-24.
All right, before Ricky goes, I want to go to our chat here. And we got a decent amount of folks that chimed in here.
Which appreciate that, by the way, because we ask every single time for predictions in the chat. It is much better for this segment when we have a lot of predictions to look at here. We love y'all's enjoyment or involvement here. Enjoyment too. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. So Cuddy, he's got 28-21 Panthers. Katie, 30-24 Carolina. Christian Johnson, I think we win a close, high-scoring game, 35-31. Tony, a lot of Panthers in this one, 27-21. Tony's got Chris Dillard, 27-24. Also, who would you guys like to start for Trevin and Rose Boom? Claude and Chris, Barnes and Bam.
Claude and Chris.
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, I think you need
Chris
a
has got
veteran
the
presence.
experience, yeah.
I think you got to have a veteran presence out there, and Chris has used the green dot. It's even possible that they try to give him the green dot to free up Claude a little bit, despite Claude showing that he can. The second half, it was still Roseboom with it at the beginning, and that's when Claude really started coming into it. So
I really would love for Roseboom to be a go in this game. We'll see. Christian Costello, Panthers 23-20. Zachary, I think this week is going to be tough. Hate to say it, but 24-17 Niners take it on a game-winning drive. And then Dylan, 23-21. Ricky, what do you got?
Don't feel bad when you pick another team too, because sometimes when you sit there and you're trying to actually make a pick with logic and not just make the pick for the team, you know what I mean? First, let's go Carter. First play, Tedero McMillan, 69-yard touchdown, 26-24 San Francisco. Not bad. Keaton, very level-headed here, 30-0 Panthers, baby, absolutely. And then our guy, Panthers, pets in a bathtub. What if it was Panthers in a bathtub? I think I just thought of something revolutionary. That's the name of our next episode, Panthers in a bathtub. I'll be doing the show from the bathtub. 17-7 tie. Man, please, anything but a tie. I hate ties in football so much.
So stupid.
I don't know that I could hate anything more. I will tell you one thing that I love exceptionally more than just about anything, and it's something that we're going to do one last time. If I'm recalling correctly, guys, San Francisco scored over 40 points last week, right? Was it 41-24 or 44-20 something? I mean, they whooped up on the Cardinals. They put a hurting on them. Ricky Pearsall didn't even really have much of a big game there. The return of Brock Purdy obviously opened up that offense a good bit. Jacoby Brissett, now look, he did throw 47 completions, 47 of 57, I believe, against that pass defense. So they're susceptible there.
NFL record.
It was a weekend for NFL records. Hey, Bryson, you know who else set a record last weekend?
I believe Bryce Christopher Young.
Yeah, little fella, too small, can't see over the line, can't throw, noodle arm, can't throw anything deep.
Same nickname. Same nickname. Same middle name as me.
What is he saying? What is he saying?
He's got the same middle name.
He's about to start pecking the screen. You don't even have the hat on. That's where we are in this show right now. But no.
Same nickname.
I think the thing is 41-22, Carter says Niners last week. That's the thing, man. This offense is going to go for San Francisco. The Cardinals defense, the Cardinals team, let me say this. The Cardinals team is in a different position. They're in a different mental state than the Carolina Panthers team.
Mm-hmm.
They have a different coach that's cut from a different cloth than the Carolina Panthers team. Christian McCaffrey's going to be up for this one. You're fooling yourself if you don't think Christian McCaffrey's going to have an extra giddy up in his gallop for this game on Monday Night Football. I think you're also fooling yourself if you don't think that Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers don't show the fuck up for Monday Night Football in this game after sweeping the Atlanta Falcons, after being told that they're not good enough, after being told that they're the most fraudulent team in the playoff race, that they're the most fraudulent 500 team in the NFL. After only being a half game back in the NFC South Division, you think that they're just going to come over here, lay down, and let the 49ers do whatever they want to them? I don't see it, guys. I see a 49ers team that is competitive and that just lost and that is going to want to keep playing, right? They want to fight. They want to try to reclaim their position. The NFC West is still in reach for them. The wild card is still their main goal, I think. I think that's where they know they can try to put their cowboy hat on the hook, if you will. But I don't think that this Carolina Panthers team is the team to do it against, man. I got a feeling. And I don't know if it's the Eagle Rare. I don't know if it was all the other foolishness of this evening. But I came in with the intention of picking the Carolina Panthers, and I'm not wavering. I picked the Panthers to win last week. I know I wasn't here on the show, but I wrote about it. I had them 17-6. I was off on the score. I'll take that every single day as long as the result is correct, right? I think that the Carolina Panthers give up some points, but I think that they score a lot against the San Francisco team. I think that this is a 29-26 Carolina Panthers victory in Santa Clara, California. I think that Bryce Young has a really solid day. He's not going to throw for 440. Wouldn't be shocked if he pushes 275. I think that Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle get going a bit. I think Chuba sees close to 10 touches in this one, 10 carries. I think that they start splitting that up a little bit. Rico's still going to be in the 15 to 16 range, but I think Chuba gets close to double digits in carries. And I think Xavier Legette keeps going. I do, man. I think that when you look at what they do, they got Nardo Green over there at corner. He's going to see a lot of T-Mac, I believe. Lenore they got. Lenore's having a really nice year for them. But I really like it, man. They got the nickel Upton Stout. Yeah, he's physical. He's good. He's small. If you ever get Tedero McMillan matched up on 5'8", 5'9", Upton Stout, rookie out of Western Kentucky, that's a matchup they're going to exploit.
Throw that ball.
Throw the ball, man. Throw the ball. Trust in your boys. Do the thing. Bryce Young, go out there, keep playing. Defense, show your stuff when it matters. Get the ball to 9. Maybe we're even down 23-26. Well, how fun would this be, guys? Down 23-26, 2:45 left to play. Get the ball to 9. And then we win 29-26 because we don't even have to kick the extra point because we win with no time on the clock.
Ooh.
A man could dream, can he? 29-26, Carolina.
Amen. I'll tell you what. I didn't realize this is Christian McCaffrey's first game against Carolina since a trade. I thought that was pretty wild. Like Ricky said, he's going to have his numbers, especially if this linebacking crew is out. And we have to play some of these guys coming off the practice squad or, whatever they do to bring up some guys to fill the void if Rose Boom can't go. But I'll tell you what, Brock Purdy, I don't think can get away from Nick Scorton. I think Nick Scorton has a sack in this game. I think Princely has a sack in this game. I think both rookies come alive.
Ooh.
I think J.C. Horn continues to build. It's an all right game, but I think he builds off of that. It's in prime time. I think this defense holds their own. And I think for the first time, we see some consistency on this offense. I think it's Jalen Coker's game. I know Ricky talks about Legette. Jalen Coker comes out Monday Night Football and has a big one in this one. I think Tedero McMillan still keeps balling. I still think Legette gets involved too. And I think Bryce Young shuts a lot of these critics up in this game. And Carolina, for the first time in a long time, gets a win on Monday Night Football. I've been picking this Panthers team since the Green Bay Packers game, and I haven't faltered since. And I'm a pretty negative SOB. But what? I believe in this team. I think they can get it done. I will say Carolina wins this one 25-20. It's going to come down to that fourth quarter, but I think Bryce Young pulls it out, and they put this team in the spotlight. And you don't see much. You saw after the Packer game, they were on ESPN. They were on Good Morning Football. They were kind of all over the place. I think they're a little bit more humble this week after a big win.
No victory Monday.
They're focused. They're going to get a little extra time because it's Monday night, and they're going to go over all the way to the West Coast, and they're going to kick the 49ers' ass, and they're going to win this game. Give me them 25-20. And I am excited, man, because it's been a long time since we've gotten a Monday Night Football game.
Underrated point here when we talk about Xavier Legette. Don't forget who his good buddy is training-wise, who he works out with constantly, his connection that he has, his South Carolina connection, and how that connection, Deebo Samuel, probably has some ill feelings towards the San Franciscos. I think that it would be a really poetic thing for Xavier Legette to come in there and maybe be the one to catch that, back pylon fade to win the football game. And maybe he signs that ball and sends it over to Deebo, right? Maybe he gives Deebo his chain back.
I like it. Well, hey, I think it's time for the we get the safety. I don't know how we're getting 25-20, but we're getting 25-20. Don't
It
question
can
it.
happen. Yeah.
I do want to shout out quickly because, and I wanted to go back and listen, just hadn't at the time. Someone last week called an overtime win over the Falcons in the chat.
Nice.
I don't remember who it was, but someone did. And if you're in here, please let us know
In here,
because
say it because you just got another entry into the raffle.
because I remember I'm like, there's no way that's happening, and it happened. So just shout out to
Bryson
whoever.
will kill me if somebody says that right now. And Bryson has to go put another name in that fucking dial.
No, I'm locked in, man. Come on, add them up. We're sitting at 95 entries right now.
95, dude. That is awesome. You know that you. All right, so I want our members to know this. How many members do we have? We're close to like the 10-ish range or something like that right now.
20.
Members, 20,
Like 20, 25, yeah. With
of members,
members total.
So understand, members. Zachary Hinnant called the overtime win. All right, Zach, you want to throw him in there, Bryson? Give him one extra one for the overtime win. That's a great one. Just give it to him. Fuck it, we're doing fun things here. Members, understand this. If we've got 20 members and each of you have 3 entries, and some of you have done super chats, some of you have sent screenshots, being a member gives you a really big advantage in this situation. And it's $4.99 a month. $4.99 a month. And when
$3.99 if you're not on your iPhone.
$3.99 if you're, still, logging in and you've got mail when you get on the internet and all that kind of stuff. But if you're an Apple person, which most of us are, $4.99, $3.99 if not. But you get these opportunities, man. And we're going to start doing other exclusive stuff. I'm not trying to do a whole sales pitch. I'm just trying to let you know that this is the cool stuff that we have in line for you guys. It is not to make money. It is literally to get cool things into Panthers fans' hands and to give more opportunities, because that's what we like to do here on this show. We like to talk about dick charts. We like to predict Panthers wins, and we like to spread Christmas cheer.
Man, that shot is running deep right now.
It's in my veins. It's coursing.
All right, are we ready for this?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure we had Mike Jack Hater in the chat here. Making sure that he didn't. Yeah.
We do. I remember his screenshot. Yeah.
I'm up to date on everything on that X post. So, yeah, I'm going to share my screen. And
all right, let's do this.
Get underway here.
Again, 2 tickets to the big matchup against Los Angeles Rams at the end of the month at Bank of America Stadium. I think it's section 535.
Section 535. Yeah, hold on. I'll pull up the tickets while Bryson gets the thing sharing. Hold on.
You guys see it?
No,
not yet. It's loading.
There we go. Don't hit it yet, though.
Yeah, hold on. Let me bring up. I'll tell you the ticket numbers and everything.
I got everybody in here. I've got the members in here 3 times.
So we have.
If your name has an X beside of it, that's because you're on X. I just put that on there for us.
We have section 535, row 22, seats 7 and 8. Those are the 2 tickets. I have them on the Ticketmaster app saved. So it is just a simple matter of transferring them over to you. We'll work out all the logistics when we find out who wins.
And just a reminder to jump in. If you can't go to the game, let us know. We'll spin again. We want someone who's going to be able to enjoy this game, go to it and watch it. If you can't, let us know.
Well, what we need to do in case the person who wins is not in here, this is the way that you do this.
We'll spin
it. Do 3 spins. Do 3 spins tonight. The first person that wins is the first winner, right? If they can use the tickets, they claim the tickets, they get to us, we get in touch with them, everything is copacetic, that's the winner. Second spin winner will be the backup if that person cannot get the tickets or if they do not, have availability. And then the third person will be the third place contingency plan. So, Bryson, we're going to do 3 spins, and we're going to figure this thing out. Let's do this thing.
All right, first spin underway.
I hate all the ads on this shit. Who do we got?
Oh, Austin.
Oh, there we go.
Congratulations.
Good for him.
That's awesome.
All right.
Austin's a huge fan, huge Panthers fan. Goes to a lot of Hornets games too. He's been in here. I did not see him in here tonight. But awesome for Aus. All right, let's spin it again just in case. But I got a feeling Aus will go.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome, man. Aus is a good dude too, man. He has been nothing but positive about the Panthers.
No way.
You got it.
Him again? Oh, dude, it's meant to be. It is meant to be.
All right.
Awesome. This is you, bro.
One more just for.
If this is us again, man, I don't know what to do. If it's us again, I'm gonna hit a shot.
Oh, he has
Tony
PSLs?
says us has PSLs.
Oh wow. If Austin has PSLs, we might have to change this.
Well, no, hold on, because what if he wants to give it to like his family or something like that?
That's true.
Like if he won the tickets, look, man, if you could put Panthers fans in the seats, you know what I mean? Like this is the whole point of a giveaway, man. Like he's a member. He should have his entries in there the same as anybody else, you know? As long as those tickets get used by Panthers fans, I don't really care. If Aus just wants to have like his family go with him or something like that, that's cool with me.
Let's add Zach as the backup to the backup.
And then maybe do one more because Aus had two. Yeah.
I'm going to do one more just for a third.
Tony, you're friends with Austin, aren't you, man? You should just hit him up and be like, hey, let me get them tickets, dog.
It's Keaton who said to give them away.
And there's Keaton, so then that would go to somebody else.
Yep, so I'll spin it again.
One more time.
Tiger from Pennsylvania.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. And then we had Zach Hinnett ask here, any update on the jersey giveaway? We will talk about that next week. We are trying to do so much cool stuff, man, that like it also gets lost sometimes, and we don't want to do everything on the same week. But with this game being on the 30th, we wanted there to be a little bit of time in between to make sure that we worked out logistics and that everybody was going to be able to be there and really reap the rewards to everything. Congratulations to Austin. Congratulations to the contingency people if they get there. But most of all, thank you guys very much for the support and involvement in this. We will have another ticket giveaway like we talked about earlier. JJ from Panthers Culture has asked to be involved in that. We may try to figure out a way to get him in here on the show for that. We'll discuss all that. But we'll pick another game. We'll get 2 more tickets. We'll do another ticket giveaway. We'll have the jersey giveaway. If people keep on buying me shots and I make it through all of my pneumonias, then we're going to do more fun things. I'm going to find out cool ways to involve all of us and have wonderful Wednesday nights together.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who participated both on Twitter, YouTube, in the show tonight. Almost 900 on 11:30 at night listening into this episode. Appreciate you guys. Seriously, it's awesome. It's fun. We have a lot of fun doing this. The parrot hats, the cheese heads, the Pink Pony Club hat, the Ricky hat that he's been wearing ever since they've won a football game this year. We appreciate it, and we love that you guys love the victory video. It's fun. We also really love the statistically speaking. It's something different that not every show is doing. So we just want to thank you guys, seriously. And we have been working on some merchandise. We're still working out some of the kinks on that. We will get that out here as soon as possible. We've had some prototypes out. We're just trying to square away all the details, and we will get that to you. It looks awesome. There's your tease. We're excited for it. But until next time, enjoy that Monday Night Football game. We don't get a lot of primetime matchups. Have fun that night. Hopefully Carolina comes home with a big victory, and we're talking about 7-5 next week. But until then, everyone, keep pounding.